Hello, good evening, and welcome to round 4 of the 2026 Formula Sprint 1 Championship. My name is Edward Hunter. Alongside me is Mr. Eoin Harmon and the wonderful Fabian Jungbluth. Well, Eoin is wonderful as well, but it sort of goes without saying. So, there we go, both ends covered. Here we are for round 4 of the championship, which of course takes place at the Jeddah Corniche circuit in Saudi Arabia. Lovely part of the world, the Middle East, of course, with absolutely nothing. Oh dear, well, there's something bad happening. Lucas Violin deciding to break the laws of physics by hitting the inside of the pit wall at high speed into turn 1. So that already illustrates by itself just how dangerous this track can be when things go wrong. We saw it in FS2 early in the week, absolute melee that you were lucky, honestly, to survive at certain points in some of those races. Everybody's expecting chaos in FS1, Eoin. Are we going to see the FS1 field buck the trend with some more experienced hands, particularly at the front of the field? Or are we just going to see the usual everyman driver for himself chaos?
Yeah, I honestly think there will be a lot of pushing and shoving because people know at this stage where they stand in the championship. There are no more flukes. There are no more doubts. You really should know roughly what you want from this season. And I know everybody wants to stop Alex Lahou. That is the key for all of the other 26 or so drivers on the grid tonight. How do you stop the unstoppable?
Well, the clue is in the word unstoppable there, but either way, though, here is how they stack up, and you can see Alex Lahou with his very, very strong results in the first part of the season, of course, the double win in Jeddah. Has he been given retroactively given the double win?
It must have been, yes.
In Bahrain, yes. So Patrick Rozak's win that we called. Unfortunately, that's a cruel way to have that first win taken away. I think there was some contact that he must have been penalised for. So that puts Rozak down behind Omari Watson into 4th in the standings. But there you go. Alex Lahou, 147 points, nearly double that of Frank Hamming, the next best driver behind him. So that really shows you how mixed it's been really in the battle to be runner-up this season. But yeah, Alex Lahou has certainly been excelling so far this season. This is the track that he has won at before in FS1 and that he's historically been very, very strong at. So it definitely, being a high-speed street track with no margin for error, very much plays to Alex Lahou's strengths. But there could be a number of other drivers a bit low down the field, the likes of Frank Hamming, Omari Watson, Patrick Rozak looking to get revenge. Jack Mayer, of course, getting his first podium of the season last time out as well. And, of course, the ever-reliable Scott Flack, always very strong qualifying, good at keeping the tyres alive. All of those could be threats. And then we had Alexander Gonzalez-Green. Start the season very strong. Didn't have a great qualifying at Bahrain. That put him very much on the back foot. So he'll be hoping. And the Bodil Racing Team, of course, his more experienced teammate in sim racing, James Juba, will be participating tonight. So that could be interesting to see how they get on. I think in the chat, Lorenzo was saying that he thinks today will be miserable. So
let's hope. Apparently, I had to clarify with him.
Oh, right. Okay. He's also saying some other things that I can't say on stream. But anyway, or at least it would be advisable if I didn't. So there we go. And you can see also in the top 10, we have got the likes of Lucas Filin, of course. Only one KKR, I think, in this qualifying session at the moment. So no sign of Oliver Hargitay, reserve driver for Kaizen Koza Racing at the present moment. We've got Menno Klont in ninth for CM Tech Racing, equal with Scott Flack. And Damien Cardaz for Gallery 82. Cardaz, a bit unlucky in Bahrain, but certainly he's had some really, really strong pace so far this season. So let's hope the Garrett 82 get a little bit more luck on their side this time around, because there's not been a whole lot of it in these first 3 rounds going their way.
No, not at all. I suppose you can make the same point for Scuderia Cap Clay. Like, you'd think they're a far more capable team than a mere 22 points so far. But I know, no doubt about it, there is a way back for Scuderia Cap Clay. And tonight is hopefully the first instance of that going their way again. So Lopez, we saw the best and some of the most unlucky out of him at Melbourne. But ever since, he has not seen a checkered flag at all in any of his 3 participation races. And then he decided not to go in race 2 at Bahrain. So that means he's stuck on a rather...
I think he might have got disconnected.
Yeah, disconnected, excuse me. Yeah,
so it wasn't necessarily his decision there. So I think that's a bit hard.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. Sorry, my bad.
So I think his teammate, he's having to miss another round in the form of... it's Tuamala, isn't it? It's usually in the other car. Oh, no, it's O'Connor. Well, either way, I think it's Eunice Corrala is getting another run in the second Scuderia Cap Clay, number 18 then. So we'll have to see how Eunice gets on as we ride on board of Omari Watson. One of the first to set a time, although Francesconi, I believe, is the current fastest first sector time, 35.233. Watson, though, 30.5 in the middle sector here. And yeah, that corner you've just seen Watson go for, it sort of really fast chicane near the back end of the circuit. That's very much going to be a trouble spot where collisions are, if anything, very, very likely rather than unlikely.
Oh, yeah, I totally agree with you there, Ed. It's just going to be so precarious to pick your spot if you're trying to overtake another driver, or even if you're just following in our typical queue. As we see our first time set, and it's advantage to Mr. Watson. He's got the provisional pole, but watch out for Remco De Zeo. Can he get reasonably close? That's not too bad, actually. P11, and now he's down to 12. So still good showing from our broadcast colleague.
Yep. You don't want to say commentator curse because he's not a commentator, but yeah, there we go. So 13 unlucky for some, although Cedric Bill was briefly in 13 until we saw another great time pumped in there. So yeah, Potentia GP, clearly after their stronger showing at Bahrain, they have been practicing with both cars. Watson and Mayer currently only 11 thousandths apart from each other, as Eoin, teammate to Alex Loho, now takes that mythical 13th spot that they all seem to be changing and popping themselves into in the midfield there. As now we look at our runner-up in the championship, Frank Hamming, 24th at the moment, looking to continue his strong run of qualifying well. HGP, definitely one of them, potentially are 2 of the favourite teams for the championship. The team's title is certainly a little bit closer than the driver's title at the moment, courtesy, I think, of Loho scoring all of Hugh Performance's points at the moment. So their lead is very, very slender as we look at Jack Mayer then. Another strong first sector, but slightly down. Not hugely off in the middle sector, but enough that it could make a difference here. 54 hundredths of a second then. So just to run to the line, let's see if Jack Mayer can displace Omari Watson for pole position.
Oh, he can, Ed. He certainly can. He's found a 10th of a second over his teammate and countryman. But now I was building up Cap Clay in the preview of tonight's event, and he's got a purple middle sector, has Junio Lopez, and here's a chance to get a representative time. He hugs as much of the inside as he possibly can to get the ideal line. He's got provisional pole himself, a smashing time there. They're beginning to really find the grip around Jeddah Corniche, and the 136.0 sort of estimations. It's getting a bit closer now.
Yeah, of course, still 9.5 minutes left to go, but Lopez, who took pole position for the season opener in Australia, that will be hugely good news for him, as there we go. Here's the man we were all waiting for. Alex Lahoe has waited for everybody else to have their fun in the opening couple of minutes, and now he is setting the time screen alight in the first sector, flirting ever so close to the wall on the outside there through, I think that was turn 13, essentially, as he's in the middle sector now and about to start the final sector, so the split time. There we go. He is 4 thousandths up on Junio Lopez. Always a little bit of cutting there at the turn 20-21 chicane there.
Yeah, that could be double checked if needed, but he will push as hard as he possibly can through the final hairpin now. Turn 26, I believe it is. This, or 27, I should say, of this winding circuit in the Saudi Arabian desert, and he's going to really try and push for that 136.0, but he finds the 136.2, and that's our next change in a pole position sitter. And Alex Lahoe once again telling everybody, come and get me.
Well, only 6 hundredths there between Lopez and Lahoe, which is not a huge amount. That could all just be down to just tiny little exits, especially down the straights, where you really need to nail some of the exits from the fast corners and some of the tighter ones, particularly that final corner, the run to the line, could be what makes the difference today then. But as we look at Oliver Hargitay, who has gotten onto the qualifying server in time, so KKR will breathe a sigh of relief at that. We should be looking now at, let's see, 28 drivers on the grid. So I think there's only one team that's missing. Would that be, has anybody from Alpha Sierra on the grid at the moment? I don't think they are. So that's the one team that... Kurshavin is there, sorry.
He's not on circuit with a time, yeah. He's going to set one, though.
Should do, yes. So I think there's one missing. His teammate Alpha Sierra is not there, and I think our second Gary 82 is nowhere to be found either, if I'm not mistaken, as well. I think there's only Michel Galka on the server. No, Caldas is there as well. Okay, it's a case of a Spot who isn't there. Is Vodka Hookstria today? Yes, he is. Okay, so 2 CM techs as well. So it is just one the Alpha Sierras and one the other teams with down a driver at the moment. Could be 0-1.
Yeah, 0-1, yeah. So it's Kozowski.
There we go. So Matej Kozowski, sadly not there, but luckily we have still got Alexander Ragotza, who of course scored from the very back of the grid in race 2 in Bahrain, didn't he? He was a little bit unlucky in the first race to retire quite early on, but he certainly has got the prowess underneath him to recover, as we see Oliver Hargitay go up to 18th on the grid then, not only a couple places behind Lucas Phelan and about 2 tenths behind Philip Koenig there. So now we see James Juba. Look, you see he's taking the wide entry through the final corner to set up his run. So that is very much a qualifying lap preparation line there, taken by the Bodal Racing Team driver. Juba, of course, the Englishman, has not driven in GPVWC for a few years, as we cut away right as he was going into the braking zone on his next flying lap there. But yeah, Juba currently 13th fastest, fighting away with Menno Klont quite closely as well. Raymond van Sust not far behind him either. Scott Flack to the line, improves a couple of positions up to P7. Crucial improvement there for the Australian, but Damien Cardas for Gallery 82 takes 6th position away. He's right behind a much improved looking Alexander Gonzalez Green there in the other Bodal Racing Team.
Yeah, great to see the variety in the top 7 or so. Definitely Potencia have the brilliant pairing so far of Watson and Mayer. They're working solidly together to be on the 2nd row. Yeah, definitely every team is seemingly getting their time to shine. And here's Zubian, the other model. Oh, close call there.
I think he did very much whack the wall there with the right rear tyre. But luckily the BRT seems to be made of strong stuff, so the purple and white machine lives to fight another day. And Juba still with 5 minutes left in the session, but that is definitely a track limit to cut there. So this lap is definitely not going to account for James Juba there.
Yeah, and Zuba will try and finish off this lap as best he possibly can, just to solidify this position. There will definitely be eager eyes to try and pick up a spot like Ragoza. He's going to set his first time in the 0-1 esports car. Now that they do have their full representation, I'm corrected there. And Rorschach will come into the pits knowing that he lost that win. He'll have to try again, I'm sure. And there's a small improvement for Ragoza, but he's only 26, so his first official time only gets him up a position, really. But Lahu will try and gather his thoughts through the first sector about now. And yeah, he's found another few hundreds, Ed. It's just looking extraordinary for the Frenchman at the minute.
Yeah, and when you're at the level that Alex Lahu is, your improvements tend to be very infinitesimally small, essentially. So, yeah, that really shows you that when you're at the top, it's the really, really tiny things that make the difference there. As again, sparks flying out the back of the Hue Performance as the Vietnamese team is certainly going to be celebrating Lahu's continued improvements then, small though they may be. He's another 42 thousandths up in the and again he might just get away with that one. That was sort of flirting either side of the curb there, so he did get away with it the previous time, so hopefully Lahu, this lap should count then. So he's definitely gonna try and pull as far away from Junior Lopez on the timesheet as he can, just to lay down the gauntlet and demoralize everybody going into the first race. I think DRS Open, it's just a run to the line now. Lahu is going to improve surely, and indeed he does. Nearly 2/10 clear of Junior Lopez. That is a 136.128 then, so very much a top tier lap there. The only sector that wasn't purple was the final one, which was still a personal best, 30.6 there.
Yeah, he's absolutely nailed on the target time he would have set out before taking to the circuit to qualify. You got two cars neck and neck there in the private qualifying, Coralla and the Team Iris there of Koenig. So we'll see how they both get on as they scramble to try and ascend as high as they possibly can up the grid. And Coralla, he stays 10th, I think. Yeah, he stays 10th, so his final lap wasn't ideal, but Koenig should definitely find an improvement here, Ed.
Oh, he was a bit deep into that final corner, though, Eoin.
It could be costly. And he will not come in. He will say, yeah, I have time for one last lap if I'm set up immediately to get back on circuits. Yeah, Philip knows there's more time to be found in the Team Iris car.
Lucky for him, the Team Iris pit lane is quite early on there, so he doesn't have to travel far to get to it. But yeah, it could be very, very tight. He's going to have to be a push lap out of the pits as well to make sure he gets to the line before the checkered flag is waved and time runs out in the session. Michel Galka desperately trying to get off of the last position on the grid here. And this certainly looks like an improvement. He's about half a second off the Alex Lahu's time through the first sector there. And of course, it's all cumulative. If you're half a second off in all three sectors, that's going to be a second and a half off. And that will put you sort of Oliver Hargitay, Remco de Zio territory in sort of 21st, 22nd then. So let's see Galka then through the high-speed S's essentially that are not really event corners because you're just flat out through them. It's only really in a slipstream, people. He's a little bit down on his personal best in Sector 2. 4.68 down on Alex Lahu then. So this is it then. Can Galka get anywhere near the top 15 here? That could be crucial in terms of getting Gallery to just a few precious points as we see. Oh, is that Francesconi improving up to P8 then with his latest lap there? But let's remind ourselves where Gallery 82 are in the standings. 9th at the moment with just that one podium for Cardaz in Japan.
And it's P20 in the end. That's perfectly respectable. Well, you have to say, if he's got enough fuel on board, he can go again. Otherwise, that'll be his qualifying performance done for tonight. And he'll have to prepare his race setup in the warm-up session. And now, Dezeu coming across the very quick section now before the final hairpin. And he's got to judge this one neatly. Bang on the wall on the right-hand side. Tires going to be able to at least push on without too many concerns. Should be in the 137s here. Yeah, 137.5. So that final corner may have proven too costly. But Watson, can he pip Lopez to the front row? He's got to find another 2/10 on course right now. Oh, he's lost a lot of time at the end though. So that final sector again proving very, very challenging. as the session comes to a close. And now James Juba is coming along through the final third of the circuit to see if he can bottle a double top 10.
Patrick Rozak also going 5th fastest. The man, oh, as we see the rear end of the Bodil absolutely complaining then through turns 20 and 21. But yeah, Rozak, great effort in the Emerald Hummingbird to pip Alexander Gonzalez Green to P5, sort of behind our top 4, who all very much are contenders for pole position here. That is sort of best of the rest territory then, as we now see Juba desperately trying to improve, because Kurashavin, I think, has just got ahead of him into P14. There's Juba actually takes that P13 back, 137.014 then. So Juba solidly in the bottom end of the points then, but he will be hoping to go forward come the race as Cardas completes his final lap, and it's P3 for the Garrett 82 man. That is exactly what the Dutch team would have ordered there. So Cardas peaking right when he needed to and beating both potential GPE drivers, which is no mean feat whatsoever.
Yeah, and Eoin was basically at a halt for a moment there, so this lap will not be representative.
Must have hit the wall, Eoin. Yeah. Oh, look at the rears on Mayer's car. So the softs starting to fade at the end of the lap here.
They are, but he's got a dose of DRS to just basically smash into the barrier. So he's not wanting to find out what his time was going to be. He knew deep down it was not going to be an improvement. So Potencia's second row lockout has been spoiled by Cardas. But Frank Hamming, we're going to find out his time. He must have been late to the line to start this lap. At the moment, it's not looking too promising at 35.5 first sector. And we'll find out another 10 or 15 seconds to figure out how this second sector is going. He's got to dig down deep. He's well outside the top 10, that's for sure.
Oh,
and he's giving it up.
Abandoning it.
Yeah.
That's P18 for Frank Hamming. So, yeah, he just never looked all that hooked up or comfortable throughout the qualifying session, Eoin. So, our second place man in the championship, that's looking very precarious now. But here are the qualifying results then. Alex Laho once more this season. Is that the third race in a row? It's really only Australia where he wasn't on pole position then. But Laho putting that right since with a 136.128, nearly 2/10 clear of Junio Lopez. Nonetheless, great to see him back on the front row. The Portuguese driver. Damien Cardas, the Polish driver, takes P3 on the grid for Garrett 82. And then it's our two Potentias. They're looking to fight Alex Laho and Team Q Performance for the lead of the championship. Just what's the gap between them? I think it is just 15 points between Q Performance and Potential GP at the top of the standings. Watson 4th, Mayer behind him in 5th by only a couple of attempts, of course, or a couple hundreds, I should say. Patrick Rozak, his late effort put him up to P6 ahead of Alexander Gonzalez Green, who's back in the top 10. And then it is Michael Francesconi, P8. Scott Flack, 9th on the grid. And rounding out the top 10, Eunice Corrales. So Eunice getting a good late lap in there to get 2 Scuderia Cap Clays into the top 10. In 11th position, we got a former winner here in reverse grids. That's Lucas Filin in P11 for KKR. Behind him, we have Menno Klont for CM Tech Racing. James Juba for Bodil in his first appearance, P13. Dominic Kurashavin for Alpha Sierra, P14, the Ukrainian. Wesley Stefano currently occupies what will be the final point Spain position in P15. Raymond Van Sist, his teammate, backing him up right behind. Vopke Hoekstra, also for CM Tech Racing in P17. Frank Hamming, after his disappointing qualifying, will start P18, just ahead of Alessandro Iannone. Michel Galka will round out the top 20 for Gary 82. In 21st, we have Philip Koenig. 22nd, latecomer to qualifying was Oliver Hargitay. Then the two Excelian motorsport cars of Remco De Zeo and Cedric Bill are 23rd and 24th. Juho Soppinen, who is live streaming his point of view. Anyone wants to see the overpowered driver's point of view of the race to come, he is 25th on the grid. Pablo Serrano for 01 will start 26th. So Serrano getting laps on the board. Then Christian Mautrak in the second of our Team Iris cars in P27. And bringing up the rear on the grid once again is Alexander Rogotza. But I suspect Rogotza probably has not done a whole lot of practice for this event then, if he's 2 seconds off the pace there.
Perhaps not. Yeah, what has to be focused on now is the race pace as Tylene tries to join the queue here at pit exit.
It's kind of parallel park almost,
turn.
yeah.
Yeah, 5-point turn. There we go. He's finally let clear. looking back from the view of the Team Hugh performance car, and that should be a scary sight for anybody if they're trying to keep up with LaHoo. And Eoin will hope to add some points to the tally to make sure that they can preserve that dominant start to the championship season. There we go, bit of a swap around with one of the CM Techs as well, so lots of work for these drivers just to make sure their cars are raring to go. And indeed, our thumbnail for tonight is the Team Hugh Performance team, which makes perfect sense, knowing that they're yet to suffer 2 defeats out of a 2 race event. So they've only lost once officially to Amari Watson, so it's been absolutely comprehensive from LaHoo so far.
Yeah, also, we don't really have a Vietnamese venue on the calendars. Oh, there we go. Just nipping past the Excellion Motorsport car as all. The CM Tech decides to make contact with it as well. Or, well, ends up making contact, whether he meant to or not. But yeah, of course, we don't really have any Saudi Arabian teams, but we do have a Vietnamese team. So in terms of thumbnails, it sort of makes sense to, especially given the form that LaHoo is on at the moment, to make Team Hugh Performance the center of attention, at least on the thumbnail. You never know, might convince a few people to click on it. But it's a very popular man, Alex LaHoo. Oh, as we see it back right off, and the other 2 cars go right up the inside of him. So LaHoo wants to practice running in the slipstream, I suspect, and really making some moves here.
Yeah, we know from past events here at Jeddah that the first 2 corners can be tricky enough to pull off an overtake at the first lap, or indeed even the last couple of laps as well. Oh, there's a spinner, but thankfully no harm done. And there we go. Everyone is able to continue their journeys and get on with the job. Oh no, there's contact.
That is a squeeze.
Yeah, that's a big squeeze, all right. And that brings CM
That wasn't Remco. That wasn't Remco, was it? Oh no, CM Tech. It must have been Menno.
Yeah, I'd say it might have been Menno. Yeah.
Yeah, I thought Remco might have been the other car in the Excellion that was sort of involved in that. But yeah, either way then. So yeah, it's also just great to have a new team in Hugh Performance, because it always seems that we end up with at least one team that ends up being the underdog that's entering FS1, sort of entering at the deep end without any FS2 experience. And that in that case, it's Hugh Performance. It used to be teams like 100 to 1 as well, that they jumped straight into FS1 and did a couple of seasons. Did Ben Constantine's team, and they were very, very likable underdogs that would always scrape for the occasional couple of points, maybe even top 10 on a very good day. But yeah, definitely Hugh Performance. Alex LaHoo is showing exactly what's possible for a new team when you sign a driver of that caliber, arguably good enough to have another go at Super League. And indeed, he has actually started subbing in at Super League, if I'm not mistaken, in a couple of more recent rounds as well. So yeah, certainly Alex LaHoo, a man going back up in the world after a difficult 2025 by his very high standards, admittedly.
Yeah, that is true, but I suppose that's the way he's always been. When difficulty rears its ugly head, he knows he just has to concentrate on himself, come back even better than ever, and that's certainly been the case in the interim between the end of 2025 into 2026. I've seen the very best of Alex LaHoo so far in the springtime, and he'll just have to make sure he doesn't let it become a routine, like in terms of, I could just turn up and win by just doing it, my standard bit of practice, because everyone else will definitely respond in kind, and eventually if he just cruises through the next couple of rounds, particularly with Malaysia coming up as well, that's one that could spring a few surprises.
Now let's talk a little bit more about how this race is going to pan out, Eoin, because this is an interesting track in terms of overtaking, because the best overtaking opportunities are this run into the first couple of corners and the last corner as well. Essentially, those are the two main ones. The rest of the circuit, there's a couple of spots where if somebody makes a mistake, you can maybe get alongside and make a move, but otherwise it's very much about survival and staying out of trouble, especially in FS1 and FS2, but and in fact, to an extent, even in Super Lights and Super League as well. But in terms of the tyre choices, we expect those that start on the softs to pit between lap 10 and 14. It is a 25 lap race, of course. And those that start on the mediums, according to what Menak Lons told me anyway, they're expecting to pit around about 12, 13, 14 or so. So there's not a huge difference actually between our tyre life between the two compounds, and that's definitely going to show its hand come our second race of the night, where everybody's going to try and get to the end without making a stop, of course. But in this first one, it's really going to be all about who can get the track position, and there may even be a couple of undercuts and such at play in the strategy. Although we have seen the overcut isn't too bad here, depending if you get a clear run where you're not stuck in traffic through some of the slower or high speed corners, essentially, where you can really lose time in the dirty air behind people.
Yeah, of course. There are so many corners that will allow a driver on a longer strategy to block some of those quick stoppers in the first 10 to 12 laps if they get blocked. Certainly corners 4 through 11 are very difficult to overtake on, even in an equal fight, so you're going to be stuck on traffic there. And then the middle sector as well is very tricky as well. 15 and 17, that triple sort of section there can be extremely difficult. So that's unlike Bahrain, where you do have your moments where you can push on by relatively calmly. Here at Jeddah, there's just no room for any sort of politeness, and that's how drivers on an alternate strategy can have a huge impact on this race.
Yeah, there's certainly it's certainly the problem is if you battle someone too hard and go side by side, it increases the likelihood of either one of you ending up in the wall, essentially, at certain parts of this circuit. In terms of tyre saving, particularly for the soft tyres, what we are expecting them to go a lot slower in the first sector particularly as well, which of course is an overtaking spot too. So that's certainly going to be interesting to see where the drivers that, of course, you'd expect a lot of our front runners to start on the softs, and maybe some of those further back doing that more ideal strategy. But we did see in Bahrain, didn't we, that a lot of the front runners started on the mediums and then switched to the softs, and that paid dividends for them. So it's basically a case of, if you can start on the mediums without falling too far down the pack and dropping behind everybody else in the first stint, then it might be an interesting or potentially a better call to go for him.
Yeah, now that there is the precedent set that, you know, the medium soft strategy is workable, I'm sure a few drivers will be very tempted to try it out again now that the secret is well and truly out. And there goes one of the cap plays as well.
Well, it's not Lopez,
not
is it?
Quite past. I can check the track map there, see who's coming out with the first chicane.
Just think it's Loho and Lopez just practicing for what we're about to see. This is the dress rehearsal for the race start to come.
Yeah, that makes sense. B and Eoin are actually watching, so I'm not sure.
Oh, okay, right.
Yeah, he's gone through the 5, 6, 7, 8, I think. So yeah, it might be Eoin's point of view we're looking at right now. But Lahu is quickest in this practice session, the final warm up before our feature race at 139.0. And there we go. Jack Mayer second and Damien Cardas third. There's a look at our timing screens with the final minute and a half to go. And yeah, still pretty competitive grid, it has to be said, Ed. I'm liking what I'm seeing.
Yeah, can't say I disagree with that. Obviously, Alex Laho has certainly stolen all the headlines, but I think it's going to be a very, very close fight behind him, even if he disappears off into the distance, as we very much expect him to do. He, of course, I remember commentating on him a couple of years ago when he won here in Superlights, and it was a typical 204 Superlights Alex Laho performance, where he was just able to, once he got to the front and was able to control things, he never really looked particularly uncomfortable around the circuit. He always looked very much in control, and that nothing could surprise him, basically, despite a couple of people he was lapping, of course, which can always be a little bit of a hazard around here. But in terms of the grid order, 30 seconds till the end of warm-up. I'm just looking at who we've got to watch out for. I do wonder if Potentia may try to work together with Watson and Mayer, or even split strategies. Maybe go more aggressive with Watson on the softs at the beginning and put Mayer on the mediums, so that Watson could try and get past Cardas and Lopez in the early phase of the race. That could be an interesting strategy if they go for that, but I suspect Potentia might put them on the same strategy so that neither of them is at a disadvantage and they can sort of work together through some of the likes of Lopez and Cardas. I think the assumption I have here is that Laho's going to be very, very tough to beat around here. This is classic Alex Laho stomping ground, effectively, from his previous form. I think FS1 is one. Yeah, he has won before here in FS1. He's won here in Super Lights, and he's very much been in and around fighting for podium position. He's finished P4 here in Super League, I believe, is his best result today, if I'm not mistaken. So, as a substitute driver at the time. So yeah, if he won in FS1 again, it would not be a huge surprise. Let's put it that way.
Yeah, I remember the 2023 stream had technical difficulties, and it meant we never got to see on camera Alex Laho getting a win nearly 4 years ago now, maybe just about 3 years, 15 weeks ago. Yeah, it was round 5 of the championship back then, so the missing item in the archive. It was a shame. I did try and at least keep up some sort of live feed to at least justify the the sadness that everyone must have felt that they knew the stream couldn't work. So, yeah, that one time Alex Laho had a great race in 2023. The catalogue of misfortunes was exasperated because we couldn't see him actually have a great night.
Well, I think he did actually have a number of good races, but often race 1 would go wrong, and he'd end up sort of having to recover through the field in race 2. Right, so, that's it. But you're right. His finishing record was not the greatest. Then it didn't reflect the talent that he had and clearly has maintained and built upon in the years since. Oh dear, is that Menno just deciding to fight Alex Laho and Lucas Feilin here, or it's having a massive sideways moment, and oh dear, 3 into 1 does not go through turns 12 and 13 there, I'm afraid.
No, they have to be wary of that kind of driving in actual race conditions.
I'm not sure they're taking this entirely seriously.
Yeah, they're just having a bit of crack, I'd say.
Menno, of course, former teammate of Lucas Feilin as well. As there we go, server ticks over. That's what they were all waiting for, and now we're about to see our grid form up and our first race of the night getting underway here in Jeddah. So here we are then, in round 4 of the 2026 Formula Sprint 1 Championship here at Grand Prix Virtual World Championship. My name, Eoin Hunter, alongside me, Eoin Harmon, and of course, Fabian Jungbluth on broadcast direction then. So the grid slowly populating, and once it's full, we will get our 28-strong field underway then for the first of our 2 races this evening. 25 laps in store. And who should we be looking out for? Oh, and then as I think we're about to get our formation up underway, so we'll go through the grid order, and then you can answer that question then. Yes. As Alex Laho then leads the pack slowly away into the first couple of corners. This is, of course, the Frenchman, the championship lead that starts on pole position with Junio Lopez alongside him on the front row. Damien Cardas, Gallery 82, third on the grid with Omari Watson for company on the second row. Row 3 is Jack Mayer and Patrick Rozak for Emerald Hummingbird. Then on row 4 we have Alexander Gonzalez Green and Michael Francesconi in the HGP. Row 5 is Scott Flack and Eunice Corrala, his best qualifying this season so far if I'm not mistaken. Lucas Feilin and Menno Clont make up row 6. On row 7 we have James Juba appearing for the first time this season with Dominic Kuroshavin alongside him. Then row 8 we have Reisley Stefano and Raymond Van Sisters, an all MS Performance row 8. Row 9 we have Vopke Hoekstra and second place man in the championship Frank Hamming. Then row 10 we have Alessandro Iannone and Michal Galka. Row 11 is Philip Koenig and Oliver Hargitay. Then on row 12 we have the 2 Excellions of Remco de Zieu and Cedric Bill. On row 13, Juho Sopanen is joined by 01's Pablo Serrano, returning after missing a race. Then we have Christian Maltrek and Alexander Ragozza making up our 14th and final row of the grid. So there we go. There's all the runners, Owen. Who should we be keeping our eyes on?
Yeah, if I have to answer truthfully, I'd say Lopez needs a result tonight. I know he's just been so unfortunate, and the fact that it is going to be the first quarter of the season completed after tonight, if he feels he can at least end it on a high note and move on to Sepang, then yeah, I think he's the one to watch.
Yeah, really, ever since Australia, they've not had much luck, really. Loads of DNFs for both Scuderia Cap clay drivers, to be honest. So Lopez 19th in the standings at the moment on just 9 points. So he definitely needs to bring home as many as he can. Carrara in P10 as well has got a big role to play in this. As we now look at our last place driver on the grid in the form of Alexander Ragozza. He went from last to 15th last time out in Bahrain in race 2. Can he take advantage of some chaos and do something similar here? Starting from the pit lane is actually a viable strategy, although it doesn't look like Ragozza fancies it on this occasion then, as he just slots in. And Axel Ho now knows he needs to perfect his getaway here, as we're moments away from the lights being turned on and the first race of the night getting underway. Laho on the left, Junio Lopez on the right then. And any minute now, our lights will turn on, as they do now. And once they extinguish, the 4th round of the championship will roar into life then. And it is Laho that breaks away into the first corner. Lopez holds on to P2, but the Potentias have already made up a position there, passing or just holding off Patrick Rozak there. So I think they stay roughly as they were. James Juba there, right in the middle of the pack, trying to attack Menno Klont. He's got Raymond Van Sust and Wesley Stefano right behind him, is into turns 3 and 4. Oh, what about Gary E2's facing the wrong way? It is Galka, and Soppinen collects him there. So Michel Galka not having much improved luck here on the first lap at Jeddah, as we look at Eoin, just a position out of his first points of the season here. Raymond Van Sust blocking the way, and look at Frank Hamming behind. He's already gained a position up to P17. He will be quite a bit of trouble for Eoin to deal with then. But for Alex Laho, this is exactly what he would have been planning. Lopez and Carter still behind him, so his main chief rivals he would have been worrying about, potentially GP, not able to progress from 4th and 5th. Only Mayer and Omari Watson swapping positions, I believe.
Yeah, but now Lopez with a lot of slipstream into the dangerous chicane, 22, 23 and then 24, but not enough to overtake the championship leader just yet. With DRS coming in just a moment dead, this will be the chance to see these cars stretch their legs to their fullest potential. But at the moment, Lahu has advantage, and Lopez is probably going to put the car where it's least expected. But Patrick Rozak is also tempted to place the spotlight upon Omari Watson, and he'll pick an inside line attack into the first chicane. The left-hander will come first, but he's got to be clear with his attack. And Cardas is defending from Mayer, who now has the two. We've got a bit of contact, but thankfully it's a 50-50, no harm done.
Yeah, neither of them really willing to give way, and Mayer making contact up the inside on the Gary 82 then. So Cardas holds on to P3. Lopez still about 4 tenths behind Laho then. So what you saw on that end of that first lap into the turn 20, 21, 22 sort of chicane section was, oh dear, we've lost out of Hargitai. So Hargitai is retiring. Soppinen and Ragozza, who started last, is back in the pits already then. So it's definitely not been ideal for him. So there's been a separate incident, I believe, for Alexander Ragozza that we've not seen yet, as Lopez again getting close. What you saw into 21, 22 was that he was getting close at a section that's a little bit trickier to overtake. I think he got sort of suckered in because he got this great run, but he would have been wiser sort of back holding off and focusing his attack, maybe coming out of the final corner, as again, this is that same section of the track, and Laho gaining a little bit on exit here. So Lopez, I don't think he's going to be close enough for another attack here unless he gets a really good launch out the final corner.
Yeah, with the softer compound tires, I'm sure he's eager to have a few dive bombs when the interval says it's about 6 tenths of a second. You have to make sure you're within the 7 tenths or below to guarantee that DRS in the activation zones, and he has done it. And Lahu does get the fastest lap of a 138.9. Lopez's response was a 1:39.0, and now Cardas, that's a clean overtake, Ed. That's P3 for the Gallery 82.
Well, he's held on to it, hasn't he?
Yeah,
So,
he's still got to hold on.
Yeah, Mayer to the outside. That's a difficult corner to pass, and Mayer is surely going to be sent into the runoff if he's not careful. And this is all allowing Patrick Rozak, who has cleared his teammate Omari Watson, to get involved in this battle. You can see Gonzalez Green is also keeping a watching brief on all of them, and Lucas Filin holding on to P8. Remember, of course, for our reverse grid positions, it is 6th through to 10th that are in the frame there. In terms of the hard tire runner, Scott Flack has fallen just outside the top 10. Wesley Stefano has picked him up on the soft tire. So for Scott Flack, James Juber in 13th. Hamming fighting with Kurashavin, who's just got through for P15. And then we've got Menno Klont, Philip Koenig, Robke Hoekstra, Christian Mautrek, and Michelle Galka. They're all hoping to run a bit longer in this first stint that will benefit them when they finally get to put the softs on after their pit stop here. So you can see Eoin now in 14th position, trying to fight with James Juba on the harder tyre. Juba not getting the exit or the grip that he needs, and Kurashavin now is going to be next up to attack him there. So Eoin needs to make these places while he can on the soft tyre.
Yeah, for
and Lopez is around
again. Another moment of madness, I'm afraid. There, it's gone wrong on him, and he will have to dig deep and try again. The tires will be certainly feeling the pinch and the heat, but now Cardas is P2, Mayer third, perhaps a chance for our previous race
Mayer up to
winner.
P2. Sorry to cut across your own, but he goes up the inside of Cardas into turn 1 there. So Mayer much cleaner on this occasion. So Cardas 82 briefly into P2, but now back down to third. So Jack Mayer, this is great for him because he knows that he is a former champion in FS1. Going into the season, he was one of the people that everybody expected to be the form man. Instead, it's been Alex Lahoe. Can he now close that 2.9 second gap as Rozak goes a little bit wide through the first sector there? But for Lopez, he falls to P8. It was just a case of really going for a move up the inside into the final corner, and I'm not sure there was really a gap here, Eoin.
Yeah, we're going to get the evidence coming now. And yeah, he backed out at the last second. Yeah, you have to commit 110% to an overtake like that. So yeah, I'm afraid Lopez saw the shining lights of a first position, and he just didn't quite execute the move correctly. So that's a shame now that he has to try again from 8th place after being so strong in the early goings.
Yeah, it feels like a bit of a rerun of Australia. We once again qualifies on the front row and then has a bit of difficulty in the first stint, essentially, that drops him a bit down the order. But while that was going on, Lucas Filin made a great move up the inside, exactly what I think Lopez was hoping to do, but he did it on Gonzalez Green. So Lucas Filin up to P6 and even got the better exit out of the final corner, so he didn't compromise his line doing so. Now you can see that Jack Mayer starting to pull away, fastest first sector of anybody, as he tries to close down on Lahoe. And now here comes Cardas, who's going to lose another position, this time to Patrick Rozak then. So Rozak, having lost the win from race 1 in Bahrain, now keen to once more finish on the podium here. The pole is really keen to be the top pole ahead of Damien Cardas, I guess, in this situation here. But yeah, Rozak really keen to show how much he's improved. This is another circuit, actually, that Cardas, Rozak, sorry, has performed well here in the past, finishing in the top 4 in previous races here in past seasons in FS1. So yeah, if Rozak can just get finished on the podium, that would be a big boon to him. But the man not moving forward here is Omari Watson. If anything, he's now having to worry about Lucas Filin behind. So yeah, Cardas, Watson, Filin could be the next sort of point of action that we focus on here.
Yeah, it certainly will be. And the points paying positions, yeah, we could have a few battles once again between 13th, 14th and 15th. Like he wants to also consider. Their intervals are reasonably close, but Eoin has work to do to try and catch Scott Flack. And Watson pushing as hard as he possibly can. I think this looks a lot better now for him, Ed. He's found a bit of momentum in this particular sector, and he'll take the high line against Damien. And waiting for his chance, so he will sit back and try a boost down the start-finish straight. There we go, turning nicely to the hairpin, and away he shall go. 20 laps to go, of course, as we start lap 6 for race leader Lahoe.
Yeah, Rozak still giving Cardas a little bit of a toe there, although Cardas pulls out to the left-hand side in turn one to defend against Watson there. So he was very much anticipating what Amari was trying to do there. If he can stick with the Emerald Hummingbird, then Cardas might have a decent chance of fending off or Watson and holding on at least to P4 here, which would be crucial gold dust points for Gary 82, especially with Galka effectively out of the running with that incident on the first lap. Speaking of out of the running, front wing has parted company from Remco Desire's Excellion there in the first sector, so I think Remco is completely out of the race there. Yeah. So more bad luck for our Super League broadcast director.
This will be into the third corner, I'd say. So he's made
the Hoekstra. He's just overtaken.
Perhaps.
And then does he drop it on his own?
Yeah,
he does.
Yeah, that's a shame now.
Yeah, because you're at such a low speed there, you get so eager to get back on the throttle. Even if you don't hit the curb, it can be so easy to do that.
Yeah, I certainly feel that pain. But now Serrano's incident from earlier in the race.
Straight on.
He's gone straight on.
Some sort of other issue that we can't see here, then either hardware or potentially some sort of technical issue, I think.
Yeah, he's just decided to pull off where it's safe to do so and get on with it. But now Lopez's first attempt at an overtake since his contact with Lahu. Not successful this time. He was ahead of Gonzalez Green briefly, but not for long enough. And he will get a chance to have another try here, Ed. The inside line is calling his name, but of course he has to be brave on the brakes here. Make sure there's no question of a counter-attack from Green. And yeah, he does actually have the overspeed he needs to pass the Boddle racing car and get himself a few points back into 7th position. He shall go.
Yeah, of course, you would expect him, given he was a couple of tenths quicker than Gonzalez Green in qualifying, to have the straight line speed to find his way through there. But of course, slowing it down for the corners, that's another prospect entirely. So it's not necessarily the case that when you've set your car up well for qualifying, that you're necessarily going to be able to fight as well for position, especially through some of the tighter corners effectively, where you're basically just hanging on for grip, unless your plan is basically to make the move down the straight, which we saw Lopez didn't quite do all the work, had to do a little bit of finishing off the move into the braking zone there. Francesconi will be next to challenge Gonzalez Green. Now, what I'm noticing here with the hard tire runners is they were very, very slow at the start, but now they've gone from being maybe a second lap slower than the competition to maybe just 4 to 6 or 7 temps slower than some of the soft tire runners here. So the softs, after 7 laps, they are starting to wear ever so slightly, and that could play into the hands of the hard tire runners. So Scott Flack, 13.7 seconds off the lead. He's dropped out the top 10, but the damage isn't too great for him. It's a couple of others. We see Juba and Hamming are roughly where they were in 15th and 16th, but some of those lower down that might struggle to keep up with the pack, though.
Yeah, we'll now get a better gauge of how the hard tires are well and truly getting on, so there should be a healthy amount of data coming just a sec. But Watson, his chance to take Cardaz's P4 away, not successful again, but Tyley knows the route to victory around Jeddah. He's in a good position in terms of reverse grid draw outcomes, so if he can potentially benefit from that after the checkered flag waves, then yeah, that will be a good consolation prize if the top 5 is just out of reach for the Super Swede. At the moment, yeah, he's just going to back off and go through the corners naturally without any interference from the opposition. So Flack, yeah, in the 140s still, but maybe lost a bit of time compared to his absolute best possible time.
Yeah, problem here is that Lopez has rapidly caught up to this group. He's just 7 tenths behind Filin now. So he's potentially going to pick them off one by one, especially if Filin continues to drop back from the back of Watson, as he has in this sort of middle sector effectively. That should, in theory, close up going into the final sector, but not necessarily, especially if you don't get the exits that you need here. So there could be a bit of a train behind Cardas here, even with Rozak a bit further up the road, as we see Lopez flirting with the track limits ever so slightly there. And that could create a bit of a bottleneck here. So for Amari Watson, he knows he needs to clear Cardas quickly, or he could be easy pickings for Junio Lopez in this first stint. The other thing is, we're not far off away from the pit window here. Maybe just a couple laps more. So we might see 1 or 2 going in early.
Yeah, definitely some drivers outside the points on
Rozak going for P2.
And that looks great so far. Can he get the exit out of the chicane? I think
Yes, he
so,
can.
but yeah, a little bit more to do. The overtaking opportunity into turn 4, if you're side by side, is definitely one to consider. But there you go. Well done, Patrick Rozak. He'll get his chance, a slim chance, I will say, at the moment, to have a go at winning race 1 against Lahu in a 1v1 situation. There was a flash of a yellow flag. And Scott Flack is one of those drivers who's come in very early, so he's fed up with the hard tyre. He wants to get it gone straight away.
Yeah, he had fallen about 3 seconds behind Corolla, hadn't he? So it sort of made sense if he was really fed up to try and roll the dice and put on some softs there. Or potentially there's some other issue that we don't know about that's forced him to change tyres here. But yeah, either way, that is going to make his chance of scoring points a lot tougher. Scott Flack comes out in P22. You also saw there Alexander Ragotza, I think, being that him and Koenig, I believe, have both been lapped by Alex Lahu in the race lead. And we know Rozak and Mayer, I believe, are about to put a lap on Ragotza themselves.
Yeah, that'll be one to watch if Ragotza has to obey blue flags on a regular basis. Like, it's all well and good that they come up a few times every couple of laps, but if he has to just keep to one side and let loads of cars by, yeah, it's going to be very, very challenging.
Ooh, Corolla losing a couple of places to Francesconi and Stefano, and here comes Watson. But look, Cardas defending inside. Watson will have to go the long way around into turn 1.
Oh, he's got the wheels behind, so he's got to back off, and Tylene smells the opportunity, and a bit of bumping and wheel locking, and this is a chance for Tylene to go on the outside of turn 4, using the runoff to his advantage there, but great defense in the end from Cardas. However, that's allowed Lopez into the gameplay now. He has the chance to really push on before the pit cycle truly opens up. Starting on this lap, yeah, big pushing from the Portuguese right there. But his job now is just to mimic what he sees in front of him. And you can see now the understeer is definitely affecting his entry into the and exit out of the hairpin there, the turn 13 hairpin. So yeah, he's just got to calm it down now, decide with the team one way or the other when he's going to pit and how many cars will be in his way on pit exit.
Yeah, a bit aggressive from Phylan, to be honest, of the inside there. That could have gone so much worse for both of them there. So yeah, Cardes and Phylan still going in 5th and 6th, but that plays into Watson's hands, gives him quite a handy gap of about a second or so, from which, in fact, he's actually lapped Ragotza as well. So now Watson can focus on what's going on in front of him, the battle between his teammate and Patrick Rozak for P2, with Lahu now 5 seconds clear of everybody else in the race. Leads Gonzalez Green all fighting with Francesconi, but he's lost another position here. He's going to try and fight to get back through.
Yeah, that's a big pickup there for Francesconi if he can hang on to it. Rozak and Mayer still having this contest. Oh, positions changing once or twice there, and another Tylene aggressive performance there. This time, Cardas has absolutely no patience for it. He will not.
Where's Lopez? Lopez has gone in the pits.
He's in the pits, yeah. That's
okay. So he's the first of our leading bunch to go from softs to the hard, or the mediums in this case, as we see more yellows in the first sector ahead of Lopez then.
Oh,
it's Koenig. He's lost a wheel there, so that must have been a big accident.
Yeah, so Philip tires for the second time this season after DNF a month ago. There we go. We'll check it out into turn 4. Oh, it's the inside wall. Just a heavy impact there on the inside wall, and that has knocked him for a loop, and he will have to wait for race 2 to try again.
So easy to do that though, because you start to fall behind the pack in front and you push to catch up and you mistime it ever so slightly. You find that the car suddenly has more grip than you expected. You clip the wall ever so slightly, and then with the increased damage model, you find the wheel doesn't just get a little bit damaged, it just buckles entirely then. So now we see Jack Mayer using the DRS to keep himself in play here. He nips to the inside. Can he get the exit that he needs with the DRS here to retake second position from Rozak?
He's got his best run in quite some time. side by side, but now the overspeed helps him through. He brakes in the nick of time. Brake ducts glowing very, very brightly there, and there you have it. Mayer regains that second position as now Tylene comes in to change his rubber to the hard compound, goes to the very end of the pit lane, and he'll have to try and watch out for Lopez on the
Lopez is right, stuck behind Bill though, so this could play to Tylene's advantage.
Plant in the pits, Korshavin in the pits. Lopez, yeah, he's going to have to overtake Cedric. And it will be in the nick of time. Tylene, so close to being shuffled into the barrier, but well done to Junio for making that count. Incredible piece of driving there. Courage on the initiative there. And Lopez with the heat cycle, he's going to pull away very quickly now.
So that's a net P6 then, once this filters out, at least in theory anyway. But yeah, that's the difficulty there, as Tylen came out the pits as sort of unsighted. Lopez was so busy worrying about the move on Bill, he suddenly thought, oh, there's a KKR alongside me. So he did well, as you say, not to just thread him into the wall there, as Rozak makes a little mistake. And that's going to allow Jack Mayer to pull away just ever so slightly here, which is not what he needed at all. I think Mayer and Rozak sort of know that Lehoux is going to be difficult to beat, and they're just fighting for P2 because they think that's the highest position on offer at the moment. That there's no point just backing off because neither of them's really got the natural pace to keep Lehoux in sight. And into the pits comes Rozak.
Yeah, that makes sense, but alas, Mari Watson stays out, so Potencia happy to go deep into this stint before having to change over to the hard tires. So Emerald Hummingbird, knowing that they're down a car, they need to maximize their results here with Patrick. He's got to watch out for Lopez coming across start finish about now. Here he is.
Cardas in the pits as well, so this could be close between him and Lopez.
Yeah, there's going to be very little to give between these two. The Gallery 82 will lose out for now, but Patrick retains position. So that's what Lopez has to do. Cardas! Oh, scary moment there. The runoff on the tires that need temperature. That could have been a terrible moment there, but thankfully Damien held on tightly, and he can now get some temperature into those rubber tires.
So this undercut's working well for Lopez so far. The only trouble is, Ricardo's going wide again and having to cut the track on exit and do some track extending. But yeah, Lopez might suffer a little bit if he pushes the hard tires just a little bit too hard going into the final stint then. It seems that of those who started on the hards, the only one that's really made it work is James Juba, who's currently running in P6 at the moment, but he is lapping in the 141.7s at the moment, whereas Lehoux in the leads 139.2s, while the others in the sort of high 39s or mid 140s essentially.
Yeah, it's great showing here for Juba, the Englishman, making sure that his Bodo team have multiple avenues to succeed. But Gonzalez Green, the protagonist for the team so far, with that run of podiums at the beginning of the season, including at Suzuka. So the first two rounds he got the podiums, but now Francesconi for HGP will go down to the end of the pit lane to meet his pit crew and get a fresh set of tires. HGP will try and build that knowledge now, as Hamming of course has to try and get some points at all. Raymond Van Sust also pits, so quiet race here for Raymond.
Oh, move in the background. That looked like Cardas and Tylen fighting, and Tylen gets through, this time cleanly on Damien Cardas.
Yeah, he'll be very chuffed with that, to make sure there's a fine opportunity to pull clear as best he can after two previous moments of contact or other moments of absolute hair-raising contesting of the position. So now he has his chance to use the clean air for a little while at least and try and catch back up to Lopez.
Yeah, you could definitely tell Tylen was getting impatient towards the end of that first stint to try and get through there. And yeah, sort of in the end, if he'd known he would be able to pass him relatively easily on the harder tyre in the second stint, I think he might have maybe backed off a little bit, because they did end up losing time tanker with each other, which has allowed Amari Watson to pull well clear of that group. Of course, top three all yet to pit: Lehoux, Mayer and Watson then. So they're going to run a bit longer on the soft tyre before switching to the hards, as indeed is Alexander Gonzalez Green in fourth as well, but we don't expect him to emerge anywhere near the sort of lead group of Rozak, Lopez, File, and Cardas, essentially, as Lahote completes another lap, 10 to go, so he's got to pit fairly soon then for the hards, which definitely seem to be the less fancied tyre, even with the softs being as worn as they are after 15 laps.
Yeah, it is exceptional to go this deep into a stint now. The final sort of third of the race should be concentrating on the final set of tyres. And now Patrick Rozak coming out of the first chicane. He has to catch up to James as quickly as possibly can. There's Frank Hamming, though. He's got the new fastest lap of a 1:38.8. And Kerala in the other cap clay will be very alert to that situation. But of course, Malsharek in the Team Iris, the sole remaining Team Iris car, he has not pitted yet. So the chance of Hamming increasing his points tally should be pretty odds on.
As Hamming pit for the softs, that would explain why his lap times are so quick at the moment.
It says hards on my screen.
Yeah, but that's what I'm seeing as well. But no, I'm
right.
soft on the screen, so I think the timing screen was lying there. So I think he's run long on the hards because he started on the hards and pit for the softs. As you can see up ahead, Kerala and Christian Maltrek squabbling over P14 in front of him. So Kerala, we know, is definitely pit, and I think Maltrek, may have as well. So yeah, Christian has made up quite a few places as a result of pitting really early, I think. But yeah, for Rozak, he is, if anything, just really being held up by Juba, who's out of position here. Into the pits comes Alex Lahoe and Amari Watson from the lead. So Jack Mayer, I think, is leading now.
Yeah, he's staying out. Lahoe gets
They didn't want to double stack at Potentia, so yeah.
Yeah, it makes sense. As Alice Green comes in, he'll get service. Just got to make sure he glides into the box without too much fuss. Rozak, though, he's very much fussed as he's got to try and get past Juba one way or the other now, and he has done it. Watson! Oh my word! 10 out of 10 drift, but he's got to be careful of the blend line rules. I'd have to. Yeah, he has just about. I think he could get away with that on discretion because most of the car was facing away from competitors that would have been oncoming. So, yeah, on the letter of the law, you could say Watson did cross the line, but thankfully, he's still in this race.
Yeah, there we go. So just absolutely hammering it down the minute he got out at the end of the pit lane speed limiter and crossed the exit there. But in the words of Zaphod Beeblebrox, 10 out of 10 for style, but minus several million for good thinking, I think, there for Amari Watson. So, yeah, he, of course, Rozak has effectively undercut him here, and he's just been able to stay ahead of Lopez, even with that moment there. So Watson will have to be on his toes here, because of course he'll have fresher hards, but he still needs to get them up in temperature. And Lopez, having spun out of second position with a sort of calf move on Alex Lahoe, is now going to be desperate to get back on the podium. To do that, he needs to clear Watson.
Yeah, he may not get a better opportunity than this, Ed, as he's got a purple sector too. The cap clay is absolutely roaring in this particular phase of the race, and if Watson has to build up temperature in those harder compound tires, then yeah, he's really got to settle in and go from a bit of a disadvantage
Mayer
right
pits
now before. Yeah, and there we go. Mayer will concede the lead, and through goes Lopez. Yeah, there you have it. He's fully through into the chicane. And now Watson has to rebuild temp in the tyres as Cardas goes wide in his bid to try and regain P7 off Thailand. That was an unsuccessful overtake. He just went too deep into the first corner down the inside.
Oh, good timing for Jack Mayer as well, because he came in and out of the pits right in front of Patrick Rozak there. So Watson holding him up even for just a little bit has played well there. Oh no, again, the Lopez, Rozak was ahead of all of them anyway. So yeah, it's actually Juba holding up Rozak that's made the difference for Jack Mayer, as well as some great laps from Jack Mayer on the decayed soft tyre there. So now it's sort of stalemate essentially. Everybody in the top three has pit. It's only James Juba in fourth yet to pit off of the hard tyre. And then we've got Lopez still on the... Is Lopez on the soft? I thought he pit early for the hard. So I think that's race view lying to me again. So I think everybody in the top 10 or so is on the hards, and it's Scott Flack on the softs, about 1.4 seconds behind Gonzalez Green. He's been lapping pretty competitively, about 8/10 quicker per lap than Gonzalez Green ahead of him. So Flack can definitely break into the top 10 here, but unfortunately, because of the ground he lost on the medium tyre in the first stint, that limits really what his ambitions can be here. And he did pit very early for the soft as well, it must be admitted.
Yeah, I've seen probably more than 50 FS1 races in the booth, and I've very rarely seen someone abandon the hard tires on purpose for softs in a feature race. And now Zuba will take to the pits and get himself sorted to try and make up the ground from perhaps 17th or 18th place. That should be roughly where he comes out, give or take, maybe 19th if the worst case scenario.
Oh, Matrak had him pit apparently, so he's coming in too.
Yes.
So that actually explains it why Corral was all over the back of him. So at the pits comes Juba, just ahead of Menno Klomp by about 3 seconds, and he's on the soft tire with lots of clear air in front of him to catch that pack of Corrala and Hamming fighting over P12. So Juba in with a chance to really back up his teammate Gonzalez Green and bring home some decent points in this feature then. But remember, our reverse good draw position, 6th through to 10th. So Scott Flack currently holds that final potential pole position for race 2 then, depending on what the draw is.
Yeah, it's all down to the lucky draw. Certainly P10. It's the most difficult of the numbers to get because you don't benefit through any other number. You have to get number 10 if you finish P10 to get the pole position. Otherwise, you're just stuck as you were. But Korshavin now for Alpha Sierra without their experienced head of Chris Butcher. Definitely the belief in Dominic's spirit just has to stay strong here. The points perhaps are out of reach for the time being, but if he can give Raymond Van Sust and Alessandro Iannone an interesting dilemma, then yeah, that'll be a job well done in this commentator's opinion. Raymond, yeah, we haven't seen much of him tonight. I know he did go a bit longer in the first stint, and he's now starting to feel the benefits of that decision. As Iannone, he may not have much more options available to him, as of course there's no one to help him gain DRS from. So this is Raymond's opportunity to gain a position up to P16.
Yeah, he's quite a way back though, as the MS Performance man, so Iannone's going to have to run out of quite a lot of top speed here, but here comes the DRS to the outside, comes Van Sust late on the brakes on the outside, that'll give him the inside for turn 2. Iannone drifts ever so slightly wide and spins into the wall. Oh no, and the quest for points for the Hugh Performance man is going to continue. Luckily, he holds onto the front wing, but on those harder tyres, he's going to be disappointed with that.
Yeah, that's so tough to tolerate there for Iannone. It's just so innocuous and unlucky how that can happen, but I'm afraid, yeah, you'll just have to try and get to the end of the race just to ensure he doesn't fall any further down. The attrition rate has been pretty heavy with at least 6 cars definitely out of the race. There we can see our scoreboard. Galka seems to have run out of room before Ragosa will eventually overtake him for that 22nd position, and then Cedric Bill in 21st is the last car on the lead lap so far. Yeah,
so Galka in the past lap or so hitting trouble, pardon me, as James Juba, by the way, lining up the middle sector, 31.050, so he's the fastest man on track at the moment, but 7 seconds to Corrala in front of him. It's going to be quite the charge in the final 5 laps or so, as Watson used the DRS to get back up the inside of Lopez here. Lopez having pit early. This is what I was talking about, maybe the hards ever so slightly not working as well as Omari Watson's much fresher hard tyres here, and that's playing against the Cap Clayman. But of course, if he can finish still in the top 5, that would be great points for the Portuguese driver. Juba sets the fastest lap, as you see on screen, 1:38.5 then, so he's taking almost 2 seconds a lap out of Corrala in front of him. But also keep your eyes on Scott Flack, still about a second behind Gonzalez Green, but now the charge ever so starting to halt for the man who pit so early for the softs. He's good at saving them, of course, but yeah, Scott Flack has got to hope he can pressure Gonzalez Green into a mistake in front of him.
Yeah, that's the opportunity that you've got to make for yourself, force someone else into a mistake, especially around here. If you take your eyes off the front of your car and the road ahead and look in the mirrors too often, then yeah, you're guaranteed to slide off somewhere. So that's everybody's certainly caution. They've got to stay alert to the situations around them in all corners of the circuit. And now the chance for Lopez to gain the boost he needs on Watson. It'll be a 1v1 fight to determine who finishes just off the podium. Lopez has learned his lesson from the first stint, and he stays well back, so he has a chance on DRS to make this overtake and gain nearly every position back that he lost previously with 5 to go.
Yeah, I think somebody further down the field having an issue in the first sector there. As we see, here comes Lopez trying to retake that P4 late on the brakes up the inside, and he clears the Potentia car there. So yeah, Lopez getting a bit brave on the brakes. Meanwhile, Filin, Francesconi and Cardas were fighting. Francesconi's got past Damien Cardas then, and I think Cardas really just starting to struggle here as the HEP picks him off. It's Cardas, Francesconi, another of our drivers on the alternate strategy, who's gone hard to soft here.
Yeah,
or has he just got fresher hard tyres?
Yeah, it might be a late stint. Yeah, he pitted
hards. Yeah, there we go.
Yeah, so yeah, he does have the hard tyre. So did go reasonably long into the pit window, and he's now taking his ideal racing line through the hairpin. Just opportunity brewing here for Scott Flack against Alex Gonzalez-Green. The opportunity now for the Australian to get a leg up on the American driver. At the moment, yeah, it's one of the single file portions of the track. The 15, 16, 17 section. Now they push on to one of the back straights. Now DRS should be available before the very, very precarious chicane. So waiting and waiting for his chance, but no, it's better off to line it up after the hairpin and go for it on the start-finish straight. But of course, the dangerous Frank Hammond, the fastest driver in the previous tour, until of course LaHoo has taken the fast lap for himself. This is Flack's last chance, certainly, to have a fair 1-1 fight. He is up the inside, he is through. Gonzalez-Green will counterattack, as we got a glimpse of the fighting just up the road there. You can see them in the foreground as Francesconi and Tylene have swapped places, so it's a +1 there for Tylene. Beautiful work.
Yeah, Francesconi briefly able to get ahead, but Filin immediately taking it back. And same for Gonzalez-Green, fighting back against Flack. But all this, as you say, playing into the hands of Frank Hamming then. Although James Juba has himself stolen the fastest lap back off of both Hamming and LaHoo then. So Juba on those softs has cut the gap to Corolla to 3.6 seconds. But it is, as I say, he's going to have to keep taking a second a lap, maybe even more than that, out of Corral if he wants a chance at stealing 13th position here. But yeah, Scott Flack is doing incredibly well on those worn softs to sort of stay in play here. But if he's not able to clear Gonzalez-Green, then he could see the other HEP of Hamming just breezing past him quickly here on those much fresher soft tyres.
Yeah, that's the tension that will surround these drivers
for
the
last
mistake
for Green
laps, and yet Gonzalez-Green has to use the runoff to compensate for that missed apex. He had definitely missed his ideal corner. Thankfully didn't hit the wall on the inside like we saw earlier with Koenig at a different part of the track. Yeah, he's definitely struggling, Ed. I don't see how this bottle is in its ideal balance at the minute. It's a bit challenging for Alex to deal with the understeer, and he's got two very eager drivers with race winning experience coming up behind him.
Yeah, here we go. So Flack to the inside, Hamming almost looking for the middle of both of them and desperately trying to wait for the best opportunity here without tripping up over these two. Remember, there is second place in the championship up for stake for Frank Hamming. As there we go, Francesconi to the outside, a little bit of wheel-on-wheel contact there. Fighting tries to be the last of the late breakers into turn one, gets a little nip up the inside. It's still side by side in this battle for P6 as meanwhile Gonzalez-Green, Flack and Hamming remain in that order as Filin takes to the runoff there and just avoids getting squeezed by Francesconi. Surely Lucas Filin has got to back out here. Cardas really suffering on those hards, has got no response to these two now.
Yeah, that's absolutely exceptional work there from Francesconi just to get the double up on those two. And now Cardas feels the blowback of the late stage performance in his tires, etc. And now he's got to rally one last chance with two and a half laps remaining for these three exciting drivers to watch. So we'll see how they perform. Other interesting fights. Yeah, definitely brewing. Perhaps if Amari Watson can get back into Lopez's territory, that'd be interesting to see. Yeah, this fight for the middle of the reverse grid draw should be absolutely thrilling to watch one way or the other.
Yeah, Lopez doing very, very well actually on the much more worn hard tires to keep Watson at bay. Watson back within 8/10 now, so he should be very close to DRS range, but whether he gets it or not, that's going to be another matter entirely, as they are starting to run out of laps here. Alex Laho's just started lap 24 then, as we see the rest of the pack rushing through. Here comes Fabian, desperate to get back into the top 6 here. He goes to the inside, more contact between the two as Flack and Gonzalez Green are dueling away in the background. I think Hamming has also gotten through as well then, so both of our soft tire runners picking off Gonzalez Green then, who falls to P11 and out of the reverse grid draw positions.
Yeah, that's gutting for Gonzalez Green to realise the top 10 is just out of reach, so close to the end after not putting many feet wrong. I have to say he's driven very well tonight, but of course the strategy has really proven HGP's doing, I suppose. They've really benefited from quick setup work and how they've done in strategy calls. So yeah, great to see Hamming make up all those places after he was stuck in a queue for the majority of the first 7 laps. I believe he couldn't really do much, and now he's come to life as this race winds to its conclusion.
Yeah, 7.3 seconds Laho's lead over Jack Mayer then, as we are looking to start the final lap then, so he's been absolutely exceptional. Of course, Mayer was the last to pit, so he's got slightly fresher tyres. He may be able to chew into that lead as we look at Hamming all over the back of Flack, and you can see Gonzalez Green falling into clutches of Wesley Stefano, who's had a very strong race for MS Performance. He may well finish just into the top 11 if he can make the move. He's going around the outside, coming into the final corner there, and Gonzalez Green decides to get on the brakes a bit earlier and hopes now to get DRS on the exit, but he clobbers the wall there. He just misjudged it there, lit up the rear tires on the wall, had to correct him. He will get DRS as we're going 3 wide. And Fabian crashes into Francesconi and spins Francesconi around, so Cardas gets through to P6 after all, and Francesconi recovers in P10, but here comes Wesley Stefano closing in on him.
Yeah, just as I was giving Cardaz's sort of his obituary.
We'd given up on him, didn't we? Yeah, and then Fabian opened the door for him, quite literally.
Yeah, so Cardaz has proven me wrong by being the opportunist. He picked up the pieces where they fell, and that's so unlucky for Francesconi. Oh,
that's quite a lot of track cut by Juba in the background there, as he's desperately trying to take advantage of his super fresh soft tires here. He's just run out of time to make up these places, sadly, but what a charge he's been on. But not far away now from seeing our race win across the line then. Just one corner left to go, really, in terms of the braking zones here. And really leading from lights to flag, apart from the pit stops. He's led pretty much every lap of this one at the final corner for the last time. And I think this is going to be win number 6 of the season then. Over the line he comes. Well, he got given the win after Bahrain in race 1, and now he's earned yet another one on track himself. Alex Laho wins race 1 here in Jeddah. Jack Mayer is coming through now to take P2 with Rozak rounding out the podium in 3rd. Lopez, after spinning out of 2nd position, is going to take P4. But look at this battle lower down the order. Gonzalez Green all over the road. And look at that, a charge from Juba on Corral. It's going to be a drag race to the line for P13. Who's going to take it? It will be James Juba, I believe.
Yeah, it is James's position. He's nicked it by about a few hundredths, I'd say. But there we have it. Laho's winning percentage is 85.71, and that's certainly going to break a few records if he can increase that any further with a win in the reverse grid draw. And yeah, it's going to be difficult if it becomes Flack or Francesconi's pole position in the draw, but you just never know with Lahu. He's just been absolutely sensational in this first quarter of the season.
But for me, the lower down a little bit in the top 10 are two standouts in my mind are Lopez coming from P8 back to P4 after his botched attempt at passing low for the lead. And also Frank Camming from 18th on the grid to P8 at the end there with the alternate strategy really working in his favour. He just picked off Flack, and with that incident between Filin and Francesconi, it's given him position. I suspect Filin, Cardes and Francesconi are all going to be a bit annoyed of each other after this one is hit. Finally, rounding out our 21 finishes comes Alexander Ragotza. He may have been a lap down, but no reason to give up then. So that's going to give him a good, better starting position for race 2. But race 1 is in the books, and there is your order. Alex Leho wins by just under 7 seconds from Jack Mayer, taking his second podium of the season. But for Leho, it is, as I say, I believe, is it win number 5 or win number 6? He certainly won every race this season, apart from race 2 in Australia that Omari Watson was given victory for. So that really tells the story on its own, increasing that championship lead yet further. Patrick Rozak takes P3. That's going to help his championship, moves him ahead of Alexander Gonzalez Green into the top 4, I believe. Then Junio Lopez, his best result this season so far in P4, beating Omari Watson in a great duel between those two. Damien Cardes will finish P6. Lucas Filin will have to settle for P7. A messy end to the race for him, sadly. Frank Camming brilliantly recovers from P18 to P8. Scott Flack on his very unconventional strategy takes P9. And last of our top 10 will be Francesconi, who'll be furious with Lucas Filin. I'd not be surprised to hear after that one. But yeah, certainly Francesconi felt that a top 6 was possible there. Wesley Stefano is going to take a good haul of points for P11, and up 2 Bodal cars. Alexander Gonzalez Green, after struggling to keep the rear tyres alive, holds on to P12, but Juba with that late charge does take P13. So despite qualifying quite a way behind his teammate, he almost caught him by the end of James Juba. So that's a good first race of his season. Eunice Corolla is going to take 2 points for P14. The final point of race 1 will go to Menno Klont for CM Tech Racing. Raymond Van Sus will just miss out in P16 ahead of Dominic Kurashavin. Vopke Hoekstra will take P18. Christian Mautrek will take 19th, and Cedric Bill will round out the top 20. Our last finisher was, of course, Alexander Ragotza, but not getting to the end, sadly, were Iannone, Galka, Philip Koenig, Remco Deseo, Pablo Serrano, Oliver Hargitay, and Juho Soppinen. And I believe all of those, apart from Serrano, crashed out of the race in spectacular fashion. Serrano had some sort of a technical issue which caused him to slow to a crawl, just going straight on at the final corner. So that concludes the finishing order then, Owen. A pretty exciting race 1, but still race 2 to go. I mean, shall we go for a quick break and then your thoughts on the other side of that, or do you want to sum up your thoughts with a word, maybe an expression?
Yeah, one word. It was definitely tense, but I'm glad we can now take a break and reflect on what is still to come.
Exactly so. Let's have a quick break now. On the other side of that, race 2 with our reverse grid draw in action somewhere between 5th and 10th then. So we'll let you know as soon as we do who it is that's going to be on reverse grid pole. But Alex Leho wins race 1. Can he win race 2 and make it a good 6 in a row, I think, almost? Have to have winning 5 in a row now with his streak just continuing on in Jeddah.
Inside a place of... On the next pretzels. Kelty seed, the coffee beanery, Tyrek.
Flat out. Oh no!
No.
Oh no! Who's round? It's Magnussen. Oh, it's gonna be a touch moment. It's in the barrier. Oh, they spun. Oh, this is a carnage.
And Menno Klont's gonna win.
It's a double pass. Could they take each other off? They don't. And Flack slide. It's a victory for the Tuties.
They touch. They're now. Oh no!
Soriano's gone around and met the wall. Mitchell will go through. Does it go uphill into turn 4? Oh, round the outside. What a fabulous move.
Frelick will use all of his as well. Here he comes. He makes a move. They touch. They run wide. And Munio's going to get it. We're going 3-wide. Look at Tyne. Contact. Oh, my goodness. Tyne has lost a wheel.
Time's out.
The dramatic race that we were teeing up the entire time has come to an end.
Welcome back to the Jeddah Corniche circuit for our fourth round of the 2026 Formula Sprint 1 Championship. Race 1 is in the books, and surprise, surprise, we've seen absolute carnage of cars coming out of turn 20 and 21 there. Surprise, surprise, it is Alex Laho that has taken yet another victory. He will be looking to do it once again, but he will be starting from 8th position on the grid, Eoin, and that of course means the man who started 18th on the grid for race 1, Frank Hamming, who finished P8 in race 1, will start from reverse grid pole position then. So great opportunity for a man who entered today second in the championship to try and regain some ground, potentially on Alex Laho. Particularly, this is one of the first circuit of the season where it's much harder to pass in the reverse grid race. Well, I suppose we said that before and been proven wrong, but I feel like this could be a very, very tense one. Particularly if you can, we saw it in FS2 actually as well, that the top two built a huge gap due to the reverse grid and all the squabbling was going on behind. So I have a feeling this could be a slightly similar story.
Yeah, ain't that the truth? It's certainly one likely outcome in tonight's affair. So yeah, what the drivers have to do is find some sort of common ground when it is a single file area of Jeddah Corniche, and then when it's time to open up in the middle of the race, when overtaking should definitely be on the minds of the drivers to get those overtakes settled, and then try towards the final quarter of the event just to hold on to what they've got if they are on the podium already. So yeah, in my mind, it's just going to be so tense and tricky to get this opportunity to win race 2 with 17 laps sprint. 17 lap sprint will definitely be a case of every single lap matters, with the soft tires that can just about make it to the end if they can save them, and then the 17 laps on medium should be perfectly acceptable to perform, with the lighter fuel load, of course.
Yeah, of course, we saw how the soft was the much more favoured tyre for the vast majority of the field then. So it's another case of those that want to make sure they're absolutely fine without having to do too much tyre saving will go for the mediums, the harder tyre, and those that want to especially be stronger early doors but might have to do a lot more saving, particularly in that first sector, they're going to go for the soft tyre then. So yeah, 17 laps, it's going to be tense here. I could see it being a bit of a toss-up between who goes for which compounded tyre, but certainly if you're Frank Hamming, you know you're stuck on pole position, surely you've got nothing to lose, go for the softs.
Yeah, definitely. Towards the end, if you're...
I mean, we've seen him do it before in years past, where he's beaten some very, very tough drivers in reverse grid racing by going for the softer tyre and being able to make it last that little bit longer than everybody else sometimes. So Hamming has done it before. He's also been on the other side of it, where he's gone for the harder compound and just held on against drivers that just ran out of soft tyres behind him. So
yeah, you have to try and balance his previous knowledge with the modern sensibilities of this particular FS1 chassis. Yeah, so sometimes
the drivers had some sense as well. That might help.
Yeah,
the sensibilities of the chassis are no good if they're all plunking into one another.
Yeah, that's very true. And we saw some cars losing bodywork in and around the circuit. So yeah, you don't want to stumble across any loose debris on your own journey to the checkered flag after the 17 laps are completed. So time for a practice start here for Watson. Definitely no Harmon. No, he's box start, I should say, but it's worth a chance just to try a practice start to make sure.
From you were trying to predict what he would do there.
Yeah, I know. He just boxed in the end, so my
I don't think Jack Mayer. I don't think Jack Mayer is the sort of driver that he's made so many starts that even at just here at Jeddah, and of course he's a former FS1 champion, that he's sort of got the starts nailed down at this point. I think this late in the event as well. But yeah, Francesconi, he just missed out on the draw. Him and Scott Flack, so they will start 10th and 9th respectively then. So yeah, seeing Frank Hamming elevated in front of them, so Scott Flack losing out in that 8th position on the final lap there ended up becoming much more consequential than I think either of them would have realized at the time. As you see, there we go. Junio Lopez sets a 1:38.3. Of course, finishing 4th in that first race means he's going to start roughly in the same position, 5th on the grid. So there's every chance that Junio Lopez could be a big factor, especially after missing out on the win. What we are hearing is that Alex Laho's having a Windows update issue at the moment, that it's suddenly popped up in between the 2 races then. So hopefully he can fix that in time. There might be a situation where they try and delay the start a couple of minutes just to make sure Alex is going to make the grid. But if he comes in midway through the formation lap, we could see Alex Laho having to start from the pit lane, which could be very interesting. But I mean, let's hope we see him on the grid, period.
Yeah, it feels like a professional wrestling show where the good guy or the bad guy, depending on your point of view, is outside the arena, stuck in traffic or something. They have to get into the arena in the nick of time to get into the main event. So that's the difficulty facing Lahu after.
I'll tell you what it reminds me of. It reminds me of This Is Spinal Tap, where the band gets lost behind stage in Cleveland and they can't find the stage and they just keep saying, "Hello, Cleveland," and it's like, "Oh, there's no one there. This is the wrong room," and they just keep doing that for like continuously, and they have to abandon the gig because they just cannot find the venue.
Yeah, that's the. There we go. He's in the chat, as a matter of fact. He says he's running back in.
Oh, okay, that's good to hear. So for like somebody doing a concerto and then taking a break and then absolutely getting stuck in a small room somewhere. Yeah. Anyway, Francesconi there, you can see continuing to circulate. Of course, checker flag out, but he doesn't seem to care. So, as long as they don't take over the session, he can do as many laps as he wants, I guess. So we will wait eagerly the start of this second race. And, of course, our front row is surely going to be, I believe it's Hamming Filing, isn't it, on the front row then? So no love lost between HGP and KKR in this instance.
Of course not. Yeah, they'd love an almighty scrap. 2 of the most experienced teams remaining in FS1 after Multiforce decided to ride out the sunset and go enjoy their double titles in the last 2 seasons. So yeah, it's a great shame Multiforce have departed the scene, but yeah, it's definitely a chance for KKR and HGP to show they're the teams with experience on their side. But certainly with huge performance there, racking up all the trophies in their very first 2 months of action. So it's almost a perfect month, you could say, as of course on the 30th we'll go to Sepang and see if it is a supreme April for Lahu once his Windows updates, of course.
Of course, the problem is Potentia got 2nd and 5th, didn't they, with Mayer and Watson. So if we look at it in sort of totality, the point system effectively, isn't it? What is it? It's essentially F1 points, isn't it? So 25 for the win. Mayer got 18, and then Watson would have got another 10. So actually, Potentia in that first race, because of Eoin having that spin near the end, Potentia would have actually scored more points, even though that was another win for Alex Laho, because it'd be 25 points versus 28 effectively.
Or is it because it was a feature race? It was 30 for the win.
30. Okay, 30. Okay, well, that's probably why Hugh was still leading the championship then. But yeah, I think Potentia may well have closed in ever so slightly. It's sort of nip and tuck between them, isn't it? That 15-point gap, certainly Laho can't feel comfortable doing all the work on his own. It would be quite extraordinary if he won the team's championship single-handedly without Eoin scoring any points, which I think would be a little bit harsh on Eoin. Surely his luck's got to change somewhere along the line. Could well even be this second race of the day. You never know.
Yeah, so it looks like it's about time to switch into race mode as we head into the sprint race here in FS1.
So then, our 17-lap top 8 reverse grid sprint race A formation lap about to get underway. Just a reminder, my name is Ed Hunter. Alongside me, Eoin Harmon in the commentary box and Fabian Jungbluth on broadcast direction. As you can see on the tape at the bottom there, as Frank Hamming eagerly gets away, very, very keen to get his first win of the season after being basically the best of the rest, consistently sneaking into the podium positions here and there. He has got a brilliant opportunity with Alex Lahoe down in P8 then, if he can pull away in these early laps. So let's go through the grid order. It is Frank Hamming and Lucas Filin that make up the front row. Row 3 will be Damien Cardas and Omari Watson. On row 3, we have got Junior Lopez joined by Patrick Rozak, then Jack Mayer and our race 1 winner, our championship leader Alex Lahoe, starting in P8. In P9, we have Scott Flack, the Australian, joined by Michael Francesconi. Then on row 6, we have Wesley Stefano and Alexander Gonzalez-Green. Row 7 is James Juba ahead of Eunice Corrala. Menno Clant will start P15 with Ruben Van Sus just outside the points paying positions in P16, hoping to move forward. Row 9, Dominic Kurashavin joined by Vodka Hoekstra. Then on row 10, it's Christian Malcharek and Cedric Bill. Row 11 is Alexander Ragozza, and Alessandro Iannone. All these Alexes. Michelle Galka will start P23 with Philip Koenig joining him on row 12. Row 13 is Remco De Zeo and Pablo Serrano. Jo Soppinen brings up the rear in P27, so I think we are missing a driver compared to the first race, but in the time we got before the race starts, I can't figure out who's missing.
Gosh, yeah, I can't.
Can't be one of the 01s. They're both there.
Oh, they're here.
I have to figure this one.
Here.
Yeah, Kurashavin's still the sole Alpha Sierra. So, yeah, so something's gone wrong somewhere for somebody. But, either way, that's 27 starters. Still more than enough to host a fantastic motor race then, as Hamming comes through the final corner then. And big pressure on the shoulders of HGP then to try and turn things around. Potentially starting to be the closest challengers to Hugh in that team's championship. And it may well be that in terms of victory, we're talking about the team's championship rather than the drivers being a big contest because of Alex Lahoe's dominance in the former. But there we go. That's our front row forming. Frank Hamming on the left, Lucas Filin joining him on the right. Any final thoughts before we get underway, Owen?
Chris Williamson confirms it's Oliver Hargitay and the other KKR is absent, so thank you, Chris. Definitely the first 4 drivers, they've got to definitely show the initiative, I should say, to pull some sort of agreement together because of how difficult this race will be.
Yeah, well, I think Watson and Lopez will be keen to resume their fight from the first race. Then lights about to come on any minute now for our sprint race. 17 laps of action in prospect. Here we go. The lights switching on one by one, and once they go out, we will be underway here at Jeddah for the final time then. And a great launch from Frank Hamming, but look to the outside. Cardas trying to challenge Filin, looks up the inside, makes a bit of contact with Hamming there, and now he may even lose that second position to the Gara 82 of Cardas. Cardas will have to go round the outside into turns 4 and 5. Will there be enough space for the two? Yes, there will. And now Lopez has cleared Watson already up to P4. Fantastic start by Junio Lopez, but you can see Watson dropping by Mayer and Rozak now. Horrible start for Omari Watson. Now he's got to hold off Alex Lahoe in the fight for P7, but action-packed start already, Owen.
Yeah, looks relatively safe enough, but of course, anything can happen. So urgently here, look at these 6 cars in a very small part of the circuit together. Contact with Corrala, giving Gonzalez-Green a bit of a bump at the back there. He will have lost momentum, and that's gobbled up by Menno Clant, and he will now slip into that spot, get to work. And then Juba, he was very encouraged by some of his late lap time, so now that he has a chance to start afresh, he can try and judge the situations. Now Clantas Gonzalez-Green almost ready for a battle, but for the time being into the 22, 23, 24 chicane. It's just not worth it. Maybe Serrano's out. I think Serrano has had an incident somewhere, and so has Malcharek.
Yeah, Christy Matrick spinning as Gonzalez Green on the hard tires, really fighting there. As you see, Stefano has made an excellent getaway into the top 10. He's all over the back of Francesconi. Gonzalez Green pipped by Menoclont down into 13th position, and he's got to stick as close to him behind as he can, because Corrala may well strike back. He's got his teammate James Juba with a great run looking up the inside. This could get very, very tasty into the first quarters. It's 2 rows of 2 wide. Gonzalez Green holds the inside, tries to get back in front of Menoclont, but doesn't quite get the exit he needs. So Meno will have the inside for turns 3 and 4. Oh! And is that Ragosa sent into flying into the wall there, and his car is in bits, and he's collided with Cedric Bill. Well, we know who's going to get the bill now for that one, don't we?
Oh, well, that's going to hurt. Both drivers sent into the barriers, and the replay will confirm just how that came to pass. And it's a 3-wide situation there with Eoin as well.
Oh, there's Bill. Bill already loses it. And, was he squeezed by Eoin? So actually, Bill, completely innocent victim in that.
Yeah, he'd nowhere else to go. That was so unlucky. And Ragosa speared into the...
Just not the greatest spatial awareness from Alessandro Eoin, I'm sad to say. And I think he lost his front wing in that too. So more bad luck for the second Hugh Performance driver. But look at Lopez. He's picked off Cardas, gotten into P3 now, and he's all over the back of Lucas Filin here. So I did say Lopez would be one to watch. He is absolutely sprinting forward here. Highest runner on the hards is Alex Laho, by the way. So maybe he picked the hards very, very quickly. He's back up the inside. Goes Lopez into P2 then. So role reversal of the first race. This is where his first race 1 fell apart a little bit. This has absolutely been the making of him getting up into a potentially race-winning position here. Now Cardas fancies a run at Filin, but Lopez already pulling to the inside. He looks well clear of these two.
Yeah, that's comfortable enough, but now Cardas wants to get Gallery 82, another podium in this campaign, but Thailand, he knows KKR, they've got lofty ambitions. They need more than just a single podium at their home circuit of Albert Park at the middle of March, about this time last month. So now KKR can see that their race 2 specialist is now locked in and ready to go at a circuit he knows very, very well, judging by his victory 2 seasons ago.
Yeah, Frank Hamming leading Lopez by 1.2 seconds now. So Hamming with the fastest lap of the race to his name, but now Lopez is in clear air. This is going to be the real test between the two on the soft tires. For Alex Laho, he's just got to hope everybody in front of him, A, starts fighting like crazy, and B, choose for their tyres in the process so that he can breeze through on the hards then. So whatever the reason he's picked the hards, whether it was intentionally or just in a hurry coming back in from having that Windows update and restarting the game, he's got to make their strategy work now that he's on it. Gonzalez Green and Juba for Bodal, both in the same situation then, 14th, as they try essentially fight each other as they try and stick as close to the back of Menoclont as they can. Other hard tire runners include Kurashavin and Koenig and Maltrek, who we saw spinning early on, and Iannone, who we saw losing his front wing. So I think he switched to the hards from the softs, if I'm not mistaken. As we see Rozak really flirting with the wall there, he could have a big problem in the form of Mayer and Watson all over the back of the Emerald Hummingbird here into turn 1.
Yeah, maybe he was hard onto hard again, but now Rozak just doing his best to remain in P5. The balancing act of battling with Cardas, but also minding that the Potencias are ready to pick up any of those leftover pieces if there is an error from the Emerald Hummingbird here. So that's always the trick around Jeddah. You can think about overtakes as often as you like, but there's always someone right behind you ready to slip ahead and make sure that your decision making is punished. So that's the opportunity now that the teammates are together. They have a great understanding, Mayer and Watson, so they will stay in a queue for the time being to make sure Laho can't get any further ahead, which will also increase, as you said, Ed, in the build-up, their Constructors' Championship goals to try and make sure they can get a 2v1 advantage with Laho well and truly in their mirrors.
Yeah, of course, Laho, though, this train behind Filin is playing into his hands, but as you said, we saw in the reverse grid at Bahrain that Potentia really won't up together as Mayer goes well wide off the circuit there, so there could be a track limits warning for that one. It could even give Watson a bit of a run then. So after losing position at the start, Watson may be able to go back around the outside here. This could be careful. carefully manage this situation. Watson to the outside then, and they swap positions then without letting Alex Laho take advantage. But because he's been able to stick with them, the disadvantage of being on the hard tires at this early phase of the race isn't quite as pronounced. He's getting plenty of slipstream on the run into turn 1 then. Laho versus Mayer, the two champions. Here we go. They're both going up the inside of Watson, and it's a double move for Alex Laho, and Francesconi now looking to pick the pieces around the outside of Watson then. So Watson just absolutely picked off, dropping like a stone back down to P8.
That could be overtake of the spring, to be honest. That is just unbelievable that he got both the Potencias. I don't know how much Watson knew about Laho coming onto him, but there we have it. Now the teammates have agreed to swap back around. I suppose that was a bit of a blunder, but yeah, they'll try and regroup from that and make sure that doesn't happen again. But how about that? It certainly looks great on the cameras.
Well, that all started with a mistake from Mayer that essentially created that situation behind Watson. He slipped in his way back through, and then Laho, of course, got the double slipstream, went up the inside of both of them. So obviously they've only got 2 cars, and it's a pretty wide straight, so they couldn't have exactly built a wall in front of him. As we now see Francesconi still trailing the 2 Potentias. Flack and Wesley Stefano are actually starting to catch up to this pack as well. So you won't think the one on hard tires the way that he's driving at the moment.
Yeah, it doesn't feel like he's on the hards, but he certainly is. And now he's starting to sense there is room to push. But the podium is up for grabs between 3 cars in 3 different teams. And Cardas has the best seat in the house, as Rorschach has for now taken it. But here comes Tylene on the reverse Uno play, with Cardas getting the double dose of DRS. He will sit back and watch, because it's into the right-hander. A bit more collision, or contact, I should say, as Tylene has to back out.
Aaron Laho got very, very sideways into turn 1 and 2, and that's let Jack Mayer back through then. So, yeah, he may have had Green had some really good opportunities in the previous lap, but this time he loses the position instead of getting 2. I mean, I guess it's still a net 1 place gain for Laho, but still, he won't have liked seeing Jack Mayer take advantage of that one. So, but still, all the while, they're catching up to the 3 in front of Rozak and squabbling away like rats in the sand at the moment. While this is going on as well, Lopez has been slowly catching Hamming. He's about 9 tenths away at the present moment, trying to put the Dutchman under pressure here. So Lopez looking for not only his first podium, but first win in F1. Frank Hamming looking for his 3rd or 4th in his career. He's not taken many, he's been more just consistently on the podium and always there or thereabouts, as we see all Lopez just pushing the limits ever so slightly there and getting away with it. But yeah, Frank Hamming may well be cagey in the second half of the race, but at least neither of these two have to worry about Alex Laho at the present moment.
No. As things stand, Hamming's lap is a personal best. If he can secure it over the start-finish line, then we will know for sure he has to get a 138.6 to equal or better Lopez's, so we'll see them across the line in just a moment. But Tylene, yeah, it is a PB, but not a massive improvement. But Tylene, though, we will give him the spotlight for the moment. He is already ahead of Rorschach, and he now has the podium. And there's Jack Mayer versus Damien Cardas. But Cardas, he knows Gallery 82 are counting on him, and this is a fabulous opportunity for Laho as well to get involved. As I said in the build-up myself, that these corners lend to back and forth situations. We do have a brief yellow flag.
Yeah, there's a little moment there for Mayer as well, but I think it's Gonzalez Green that's dropped out the points down to P17, so yeah, I think he's had a spin somewhere in the first sector, so that is bad news for Lorenzo Oterovic and the RT team. But yeah, Gonzalez Green still going at P17, doesn't look like huge damage, so they're relying on Juba, the other car on the hard tires. Okay, so he's fighting away with one of his performances. That's not Wesley Stefano. Yeah. Oh, it is Stefano he's collided with. Yeah, so that's how Scott Black's got through on Stefano, because I thought Stefano had passed him. So there we go, just getting very, very nasty there. Bit optimistic for Gonzalez Green, in my opinion there.
Yeah, sorry, it was Raymond. Yeah, Raymond has also
Raymond,
lost
sorry, yeah.
positions. Yeah, sorry, I thought because with Stefano he was gotten away with it, but yeah, it was actually Rain.
Baez past Carlos P5, by the way, as we just returned from the replay. As per this, having much under attack, Lopez is the fastest middle sector of anybody. 5/10 faster than Camming on this. He is absolutely pouring here. 10 laps left to steal the lead from HGP, man. But Lopez got a great chance, but it's all going on for third. Rozak back past Lucas Filing. And here comes Lopez.
Yeah, there's the fastest lap locked in, and he's gone for the race lead against Hamming, the reverse grid beneficiary, and that's how you do it. Beautiful overtake into the first chicane. Jack Mayer, and the camera switches now to his teammate Watson, who has fallen back a bit further now. He's down to P9. That must have happened a little while ago, but he still has enough in the tank to try and rescue the situation. Yeah, about halfway. Next time by, they will be halfway through this sprint race. And looking at the condition of the tyres, they look pretty okay to me, but I'm sure the following through the corners, a lot of dirty air will affect the temperatures.
It could be that he's really backing off into the first to save tires. There's all sorts going on behind them.
Oh,
It's sector
no!
one. Oh, dear. And Khrushchevin is out, and I think Remco, for the second race in a row, has come to grief, not with the wall, but with another driver, unfortunately. In this case, the Ukrainian Dominic Khrushchevin. So that is a big shame for both of them.
Yeah, we'll get the action replay for this incident. And it's another case for MS Performance, how cruel motorsport can be. Side by side. Oh, that's so unlucky. He's done well to last that long, and there's the contact. No way of avoiding that stationary vehicle, and that will really hurt.
Really unfortunate for Remco, because he was one of the very first on the scene here. You can see the incident happens. It's sort of a blind corner as well, and he's just going to ride. There was not a lot of time to do anything there, so yeah, the others around him got a little bit luckier, but yeah, for Remco, just luck not on his side. But I tell you what else is going on as we look at Rozak going back around there. So this crazy fight for P3 continuing. You can see Jack Mayer now almost right behind Lucas Filan as a consequence. But Juho Soponen has picked his way through the chaos, and he's in P16, just 6 seconds off of Gonzalez Green and Juba, both of whom are on the hard tyres for Bodil Racing Team. So Soponen for Overpower, if he can just keep back Philip Koenig here, there might be a thin chance that he can sneak into the points here with all the attrition going on here. He just holds back the Team Irishman, who goes well over the curb and off track a little bit there. So Juho Soponen, the Finnish driver, will be smiling on his live stream, I'm sure, as he himself goes a little bit off track actually and gets carried away. So clearly a little too pleased with himself there, but that's not going to help him catch the two Bodil cars ahead of him. Wow, then
he made the leap from Excellion. He was in my record book. Just say he did some races with Excellion, but now he's going to try.
He goes where he's needed.
Yeah. Now Tylene wants to get back on this podium, and Jack Mayer would dearly love another double podium. He's picked up his fair share in his FS1 career, and now the bid to get it done. Could be a great opportunity as Cardas is just on that bubble, the 7/10 of a second. But look at the speed now from the Englishman, the former champion in the 2023 season. He's got his chance to cut deeper into the apex and make a run here. Patrick Roszak has to pick his defensive line and stick to it, because these two cars are going to come in very hot.
Yeah, Rozak here looking for 2 podiums in a row, but here comes Filin to the outside. That will give him the overlap for the inside, but he just about to lose the back end there. Careful he doesn't thread or push Patrick Rozak into the wall there. They leave just enough space side by side. Rozak's got the inside. And makes contact with Filin. I was just saying they were just leaving each other enough space, but they ran out. And what is Rozak doing? He just pulled out right in front of Scott Flack as well. And that is really just Rozak, I think, panicking, trying to get back into the race as soon as possible and not realizing that's basically a high-speed corner. He's creating an accident doing that.
I'm afraid so. And the onboard perspective will come courtesy of Scott Flack. He wouldn't have known what was around the corner. And there you go. He just evaded. Certainly the suspension.
I think lost front wing.
Yeah, the front ring, yeah, that will be gone. So, yeah, he couldn't do any more than that. And now Stefano was even less
on the spot as well with Rozak.
Yeah, so there you go. You can see 1 and then 2. There's nothing.
Because the contact with Scott, that spark car around, so obviously had less chance to avoid because he had a spin rather than one that was just pointing in one direction. So, yeah, absolute perpetual motion machine. Scott Flack desperately trying to get back to the pits without getting involved in any more incidents. That puts Gonzalez Green into 11th, Juba into 10th, and look at this, Mayer into P3 as Cardas now has a go at Lucas Filin. So, yeah, Filin, I think that initial incident with Rozak, it was so unfortunate. Rozak on the outside, just a tiny touch. So I would call that sort of a racing incident, but I can see Rozak not being happy with it at all.
Oh, he'll be fairly gutted by that. And there we go. Cardas tries to stay in touch, but he'll have to yield this time. It's just not worth it. This corner has claimed 4 cars or thereabouts already with oncoming vehicles as well. Nowhere to go, and Scott Flack will get his front wing repaired in just a moment.
That's going to drop him out the points, of course.
He's going to lose his points.
So now we got the exceptional Yo Sopanen in 12th position in the second overpower, picking up the pieces. He's got the 2 Team Iris cars of Koenig and Mautrek all over the back. Scott Flack still in the pits. There's a big gap to Corolla here. So Corolla, Eoin and Bill obviously have a big incident early in the race. Bill was right in the wall. He had Ragosa flipping all over him. Scott Flack gets going still in 15th. So there's still a point here for Scott Flack. So he may as well keep going, even if there is some serious damage to that car then. But yeah, that's a big shame for him because he was looking very much in the thick of that top 10 battle. It's going to continue without him. But yeah, Watson now desperately trying to keep up with the pack. You can see there, Francesconi still a bit of a threat to Alex Laho here. So Laho, by surviving, has gotten up to P6. But on the hard tyre, they're not running out of tyres in front of him, I think, like you would have hoped at this point. So it's going to be tough for Laho to even get onto the podium here, despite them all being quite closely bunched together. Meanwhile, Lopez, 1.7 seconds out of Hamming, driving absolutely fantastically.
Yeah, Laho's time across the line, 139.8, so he is starting to show
and past
pace,
Cardas.
hard tyres demand to get any sort of podium ambition. So there we go, the peak of Laho's strategy. It's definitely now, it's the time to experience it. He's got to push that extra a bit harder to catch Tylene and get the DRS again. We'll know for sure.
Speaking of that, I think Cardas fell out of it, which is why Laho was able to pick him off there. So, yeah, now Laho's really got to build the gap behind and fight Filin and Mayer then. So we could see an absolute fantastic fight for P3 in these final couple of laps then, despite all the attrition we've seen. Only 18 cars still running, and some of them very, very wounded indeed. Basically, everybody 15th downwards is driving a quite wounded car.
Yeah, the green sector one for Lahu makes perfect sense. So Alex can keep this train going, make sure he can witness what's going on in front of him. And there we go, through the epic chicane. Very, very little room for error here. This time it will not be a successful DRS game, but of course Cardas lapping a lot slower at the moment, so that will mean it's a safe P5 for Alex, and he can just keep pushing. But look behind, there's Francesconi and Watson. I think they're neck and neck as well. It's hard to tell from this angle, but we will give Tylene his props as he wants to get back on the podium. He's been off and on it about half a dozen times, Ed, and he will want to make sure he's there when it counts.
Indeed he will. I saw some comments in the chat moaning about my mic, so I thought I'd come back in to try and fix that. So hopefully this has made a somewhat positive impression. Anyway, just a couple laps to get it going. And Junior Lopez looking very, very strong then, his bid for victory, but we keep our attention. Laho still very getting personal best laps of the race as he closes in to the back of Filin and Mayer. But the problem is here, it's just going to be picking his moment here because Filin, of course, getting DRS from the back of Mayer is going to protect him a little bit here. As you can see, Cardas desperately trying to keep Francesconi behind him as well. And you see Watson, I wondered if he was maybe saving tyres earlier on. I think Watson is genuinely struggling as Flack, unsurprisingly on a fresh set of soft tyres, sets the fastest lap of the race. He's about more than 2 seconds lap quicker than the two Team Iris cars of Koenig and Mautrek in front of him, but they're about 20 seconds in front, so it's extremely unlikely that Scott Flack's going to gain position result this. But Soppinen, let's give him his credit. He is actually holding both Koenig Maltrek off quite convincingly at the moment.
Yeah, that's absolutely right. And it is good to see the ability for drivers to defend as well as attack. You want to make sure that your setup can deal with both potential situations. But Francesconi will get a very good run here through to the start-finish line. And underneath the fancy LED bridge there. And lap 14 underway, of course, for race leader Lopez. Down or around the outside goes Francesconi. Hasn't got clearance all the way, but well done to Carter as he did respect the racing room
there
with the ability to counter-attack. Absolutely. The side-by-side will carry on into the fourth corner. Appropriately enough in the number 4 car. But there we go. Francesconi gets the job done, and HGP are in line for a bumper haul of points across the 2 events tonight.
Over the curve. He's going to go off track and cut it down. We see Koenig having a go at Juho Soppinen. Soppinen cuts him off. So you're not going to be intimidated then by either Germany's Philip Koenig or Christian Trick behind him either. Yeah, it definitely looks like Team Iris are throwing the kitchen sink and trying to take that 12th position off of Soppinen. But with, only 1 point coming the way of Scott Flack now, Juho Soppinen really needs to bring this home for the Overpower squad.
Yeah, you can imagine how delighted he'll be, whether he wants to share on his Twitch stream or come into the interview room about getting some points after so many terrible bits of luck and other heartbreaks. It'll be fantastic if he can hold on just that little bit longer to get Overpower some points after Flack, of course, is now down to just the single point. So he'll be the team leader heading into the conclusion of this race. But of course, Team Iris, on their perspective, they were very unlucky in race 1, and now they've got Koenig and Malsharek in play for a double score, which will mean a whole lot to the Greek outfit.
Yeah, certainly. Attrition playing its part, and they're bringing some unexpected runners to the front then who are impressing. But here comes Cardas, much better overspeed into turn 1. The rear starting to go. No! Cardas is gone, and he's ping pongs right into Francesconi, and that allows Watson, who's been waiting patiently for this to happen. Plan, who knows? But Watson now back into P6.
Well, Koenig's ahead of Soppinen as well. They've swapped places. That looked to be a fairly clean overtake, but of course it's only on the start-finish straight. So the Finn here has a chance to strike back with the DRS opportunity. So far, so good. And Koenig, he decides, yeah, with my teammate in tow, I've got a chance to peak at just the right moment to get ahead of the Overpower. Cap Clay, if they win this race, of course, Team Iris will be well behind in the team's championship. The maximum 20 points are on the table for the Portuguese, and that will be absolutely ecstatic feeling for Cap Clay if they can hang on to this. But the podium with Hamming and Mayer, lots of experience between them there. Tylene just on the periphery with the championship leader, just on the edge of a top 5 at least, with Watson, of course, benefiting from that contact.
Trying to get a bit desperate there. Some interesting lines there for 20 and 21. But yeah, I think Laho very much in play now in that podium fight then. So Mayer has got Open Island does all the defending, and that he can just about hold on. Hamming, interestingly, fighting back a little bit, getting a couple of attempts out of Lopez in this last lap or so. As we see Alex Laho now going for Filen up the inside, and he's going to have to go the long way around on the exit through turn 2. This will require some cooperation. Laho decides quite sensibly to back out of that one. He has got a lot to lose if he retires from this race then, so he cannot afford to be taken out by Lucas Filen, so it needs to be a clean move. Meanwhile, Koenig again going for Juho Soppinen. I think this is a rerun. He's making the move into the final corner, and Soppinen is using the DRS to get back through.
Yeah, great work between those two. Yeah, Soppinen needing the ability to counterattack, of course. Malsharek will make sure there's no love lost between those teams. The Slovakian would dearly love.
Oh, they're burst at the moment. Oh, yellows and Soppinen. Oh,
it is Koenig.
It's Koenig that spun, sorry. Yeah, sorry, I saw Soppinen briefly falling behind. I think he's actually slowed down as well to let him back through potentially.
Yeah, we'll have extra camera work here. We'll get the replay as well. The Soppinen is in between the Team Iris cars. And he'll pick the outside line, the one that was more accessible to him. Well, yeah, he's ran
He
wide.
went wide.
Yeah, that's an unfortunate moment, no doubt. He couldn't
But good
really
sportsmanship
stop
from Yuho,
Very
because
good
he realised immediately that he'd messed up. Hamming is right behind Lopez. Lopez has really run out of tyres recently, and now we're about to start the final lap, and Hamming's going to breeze through back into the lead here. So a great performance by Lopez, but now it's back down to second place, and Hamming, who started in reverse group hold, is back exactly where he was planning to be at this point.
The first sector, especially for Lopez in the last lap, was
Filing in the pits.
Some Thailand pits. He can't make it to
He
the
lost
end.
his front wing.
Yeah, it looks like it's gone. So Hamming in the lead at 139.2, Lopez 140.5. Thailand in need of repairs at this track that has given him so much in the past.
Here's contact with Laho. The outside.
Oh, they're both very
Filing the
high.
inside. They're getting tangled. Oh, he just tangles with the rear wheel. And into the wall he goes. So just a clumsy incident there. I think Alex was sort of being cautious on the outside and ended up just tripping over him.
Yeah, shades of Ivanov versus Mike Quint 2 years ago. They came to blows at the end of the race at that hairpin, with the Bulgarian getting the job done that night. So that goes to show you've got to be absolutely perfect at that hairpin to make anything work for you. Lopez will tell you all about that, but his tires are gone, and that will be very difficult to accept, I'm sure. But Hamming has waited his time. He knows these cars back to front, and then you can see the beneficiaries of Thailand's slip up will be the likes of Klant and Juba. But across the line, let's take it away for Frank Hamming, the pole sitter.
Here we go then. So he waited late to pull the move. He peaked at exactly the right moment, swerving across the line. Comes Frank Hamming to win for the first time this season, break the Alex Lowe winning streak. It is going to be Junio Lopez that just misses out after leading so much of this race. A very spirited drive by the Portuguese, who nonetheless takes his first podium. Jan Mayer continues the podium streak with P3, and Alex Lowe, our championship leader, well, it's the first race he's finished outside of the top two, but it's still P4. If that's his worst result of the season, I think Alex Lowe will be pretty satisfied with that. If this is as bad as it gets this season, then Amari Watson recovering up to P5 in the end, of course, ahead of Damien Cardes and Michael Francesconi, with Menaclon surviving in P8. James Juba, more points for him and Bodel in P9. Gonzalez has been backing him up, rounding out the 10 from Lucas Filin, who was, I've got to say, a bit unlucky, defending pretty well in that podium fight. And here comes Scott Flack, who does actually finish P14 ahead of his teammate. So did Yuho let him through as well? I wouldn't be surprised, but Yuho still gets a point. That's his first F1 point of the season. So all in all, still a pretty solid second day with one slight mistake for Yuho. Yeah, nonetheless, he seemed a lot happier with that race than the first.
Yeah, I'm sure he'll take a point any day of the week. And Cedric Bill was, of course, unfortunately caught up in the incident with Ragosa, wasn't it? Just the incident that sent Ragosa airborne was met by Cedric, and he at least can say, I finished the race after a stressful half an hour's work.
I think when Cedric was in the wall with Ragosa flipping on top of him, I think he didn't think he would be seeing the checkered flag.
No, not at all.
So for Bill, it is still all about experience and getting up to speed then. So yeah, important to finish for him. But let's go through the order then. A great win for Frank Hamming in the end after a close fight against Junio Lopez. It was really a strong day for Lopez as well. P2 and P4 in the both races. Jammer as well, continuing his podium streak in P3 ahead of our championship leader Alex Lowe. So Mayer really needed to gain ground today, and he is for once starting to make inroads on the dominant Lowe. Amari Watson to P5, so more good points for Potentia. Then it is Damien Cardes who gets important scores on the board for Gary 82, with Francisco taking P7 to back up his teammate Hamming. Menaclon gets the CM Tech car home P8 ahead of two Bodel. Juba, his best result of the season so far in just his second race of the season. Alexander Gonzalez Green still finishing in the top 10 despite a tricky start to the race. Lucas Filin, that late incident with Laho, coming to blows, caught the rear wheel, just a bit of clumsy all around there, and that's cost him a shot at finishing in the top 4. He ends up finishing 11th, but still ahead of the team race cars. So Christian Maltrek and Philip Koenig, a good race 2 for them. So Team Iris, who were quite far down the team's table in P11, of course, now finally starting to score some points after Ten Lure got that P7 last time at Bahrain, of course. Scott Flack and Juho Soppinen get the overpower cars home in the points, despite Flack getting involved in that huge incident with Filin and Stefano, and of course it was Rozak, wasn't it? So yeah, Scott Flack will feel a little bit unlucky there, but still 2 points for him, and first point of the season for Juho Soppinen as well, after some good defensive driving. Yunus Kerala will miss out in the second count clay in P16 ahead of Alessandro Iannone and Cedric Bill. Well, I think all of our bottom 3 losing their front wings at some point during the race, but they were certainly not the only ones. We also lost from the race Vopke Hoekstra and Wesley Stefano. Neither of them really to blame for each of their collisions. Patrick Rozak unlucky to lose out in that close fight, taking him out of contention with that unsafe rejoin as well. Michal Galka also failing to finish along with Raymond Van Sust, Dominic Kurashavin, Remco Dezeo, who we saw him and Kurashavin quite literally coming together in dramatic fashion, and the 201s we lost right at the start. Ragosa flipping spectacularly, and Serrano did not really get far at all into the race, sadly, for the Spaniard. So that concludes a dramatic night in Saudi Arabia then. So hopefully we'll be able to interview a few drivers. I certainly won't be interviewing Alfie Denley because he didn't take part in the race, but we got Alex Laho, Yunus Kerala, Juho Soppinen, and Lorenzo Aterovich all waiting to be interviewed. Oh, and who do you reckon is attenders we should talk to first?
Lorenzo specifically wanted to go first. It's up to you if you want to grant that request.
I think that's absolutely fair. Let's hear what the Bodal Racing team boss has to say. So we're now joined by Bodal Racing Team's very own Lorenzo Aterovich. Lorenzo, that was an interesting one. Great performances by both Alex and James for the first time this season. Of course, both in the top 10 in that second race, and both coming together almost right at the end with the different strategies in race 1 as well, both in 12th and 13th, with James just pipping Yunus Kerala to P13 as well to the line. So very dramatic, and you must be pretty satisfied with that.
Well, I'd lie if I said I was satisfied, because it could have been more. I think we went wrong on both races, strategy-wise. I was calling the shots for James. Alex wasn't with us on call for all the races, but nevertheless, I basically screwed James up by making him pit a lap or 2 later than he should have. If he went on softs lap 15 or 16, I think he could have climbed up further than he did. Alex mentioned some questionable driving standards in race 1 as well, so we'll have a look at that following this interview. Same for race 2 as well, because there were some things that you wouldn't have expected in academy, but happened in FS1. So
yeah, unfortunately, being a very high-speed street track with a lot of blind corners, it does tend to bring out the worst in some people in terms of driving standards. It's just one of those things, I'm afraid, sadly. But either way, I guess you'll follow the reports, and the DC will make their decisions when they.
We'll see.
But anyway, good to see James making his first appearance of the season.
Yeah.
Even though I admitted he did stay out a rather long time in that first race, I did wonder when he was going to pit at a certain point. But yeah, it said it was great to see him just running up front and giving Patrick Rozek a bit of a hard time to pass him, even on the softer tyres.
Yeah, I'm quite happy with James's performance, even though I did cause him to finish lower than he could have and should have in race 1. But nevertheless, you know,
if you're costing your driver's performance, then just imagine the excuses my drivers would be able to make about my advice I'm giving them.
Oh, so I've heard.
Oh, right, okay, right. It's already going around. Thank you, Layla and Eric. There we go. But sorry. Anyway, Owen, maybe you got a question for Lorenzo while I stop laughing.
Lorenzo, I suppose I want to talk about race 2, if that's okay. Much
Yeah,
better
of
in terms of the drivers staying away from the chaos this time. A few other drivers will feel extremely hard done by, but the fact I think the two drivers were able to stick together, James and Alex. So how did that pan out for you watching on?
I'm quite happy with the points we got, but again, it should have and could have been more. Some bad calls, some driver errors, some unluckiness in race 1, and more than one would think luck in race 2. But we got points that serve us well, and definitely serve us well in the hunt for the top 5 in the team's championship. I didn't expect us to be battling the likes of Potentia and Rorschach and Lahu and Phylan. I think this is realistically where we're going to be most of the time in the season if we manage to keep our noses clean and everything. I think we can get into that top 5 in the team standings again if we keep our noses clean and our wits about. But even with the performance that we had today, points wise, I would still think that this was a bit of a weaker performance than we could have put on, and hopefully sit bang in 2 weeks time and just the rest of the season in general up from here.
Yeah, certainly. Well, even on a bad day, you still got both drivers in the points, which is certainly going to be the envy of some of the other teams in FS1, Lorenzo. So thank you very much for talking to us. Best of luck for Sepang on the 30th of April.
Thank you.
All right, so moving on. Shall we go for... Well, he's been waiting a while, hasn't he? Shall we go for Juho Soppanen next, after scoring his first point of the season in FS1? Because I'm sure he's going to be in a somewhat good mood, hopefully.
Yeah, let's have a chat.
So, joining us now is Juho Soppanen, fresh from the cockpit of a point-scoring overpower. So, obviously, Juho, the less said about the first race, the better, because it sounded like... it didn't last very long, and it ended quite...
You know the better.
Yes. But race 2, it was all the competition that tripped over themselves in front of you. You gained a load of positions as a result, and you were in a great battle with the two Team Iris cars. With a slight mistake on your part, but you were very sporting, giving the position back, and I think you still finished P15 in the end and got your first point of the season then. So all in all, that's a big achievement for you, considering how difficult some of the races have been and how luck has not been on your side up to this point.
Finally, I get lucky. This week has been lucky. Last weekend was lucky. Now everything is lucky again. So
it's all looking up Soppanen, yeah.
Yeah. At the moment, I'm really happy about the result, and honestly, now it's all down to whatever I can, and honestly, I'm fairly happy. Last race I got to finish race 2. This time I didn't finish race 1, but at least I got a point in race 2. So I guess it's climbing up, and yeah, I just barely had practice, but still, what can you say? I could have had pace also in quality. So I guess the race 2 matters most. Last to 15th, well, could have been 12 if I didn't have that contact, or if I managed the tires perfectly, honestly.
Do you have any thoughts on how that incident happened? Because you and Philip Koenig were swapping positions quite a lot. He was going, I assume, up the inside into the final corner. You were using DRS to get back around the outside of him, effectively.
Well, I tried to get around the outside, but in the end I hit him, and well, I've got to check the replay again, but I think, assuming that was a racing incident, but at least, well, I just
gave the position back, so that they should be lenient in that front, then, because it seems unnecessary when you already kind of penalised yourself, effectively.
Yeah. Well, this kind of guy. Actually, if I have an incident that was caused by me, then I'll do anything to be a bit sportsmanlike.
Oh, that's great to hear. Oh, any questions for our latest FS1 point scorer?
As you ho, well done on picking up the points, and of course respect for showing Philip your courtesy there to let him through. But at the very end, I suppose your teammate Scott got through as well. So was that a case of your car was too badly damaged, or did you just back off to make sure you could get in behind safely?
Well, to be fair, it was basically all in all, like, my car was badly damaged. So, well, either way, I just needed to save the car, and I didn't want to crash just to lose the points. So I just did that basically.
Yeah, well, it was probably the sensible decision then. Anyway, Yuho, at least this time, 2 weeks ago, you can't complain that you weren't part of the stream. Or was it you or Eric that was moaning at me about that we didn't mention and bring you up on stream enough visually? So you were very much in the thick of the action in race 2. Okay, anyway, well, either way, we'll do our best to address that. We want to cover as much of the field as possible, not just the guys that are dominating up front, i.e. Alex Laho. But otherwise, it just be a very boring stream, yes, particularly the race 1s.
I mean, we were doing DRS games here, all in all, and I was just laughing with my engineer on the side beside me. I was just like laughing so much when we were doing DRS games, because this was incredibly fun for some reason. But either way, there was so much chaos. The biggest chaos was, I don't know, in the final few laps there was like a big crash between, I think it was Remco, Dominic, and I don't know who was the second one, Kardash or Galka? I don't know.
Must have been Galka, because Kardash finished P6 in the end.
Yep.
Yeah, we did see that. They went over. There was also Ragota flipping over Bill of Eoin, I think, clipping the back of them and causing that. So that was a crazy one in the early laps.
Yeah, hopefully my stream is not going to be age restricted.
Hope not. But anyway, we're going to go, because otherwise we will just talk forever. So, and we got 3 people waiting. So thank you very much for doing this. Well done on your first points, Yuho, and best of luck for Sepang in a couple of weeks' time, where I'm sure you'll almost certainly be called back into service.
Yeah, for sure. And hopefully there's no surgery at the time. But anyways, I think I'll just reduce the noise of the air horn before I exit.
Oh, no.
No.
Okay, bye. Right, let's get Junio Lopez Niscarala from Scuderia Cap Clay into the broadcast room. So we're now joined by our 2 Scuderia Cap Clay drivers, Mr. Junio Lopez and Eunice Corrala. So Junio, we'll start with you. A very, very strong day performance-wise. You get onto the front row of the grid in race 1. And unfortunately, an incident while going for the lead against Alex Lowe drops you back through the back and puts you on a bit of a recovery drive. And in the end, you finish P4. So a bit of an up and down day, but you were really, really flying out there at several points.
Yeah. I think today, after everything that's been happening this season, it's very good. But I think today was a learning day, because a lot of up and downs, if you understand. Yeah, a lot of up and downs. I feel like I had to put myself in situations I wouldn't like to be, you know. But it was a good recovery drive. Yeah, I agree.
After the incident with Laho, and I don't know if you want to talk about how that happened or not, but you then pit really early, and that enabled you to undercut a couple of drivers, and you had a great fight with Omari Watson in the sort of second part of the race then that you came out on top of. So it looked like you were just having a lot of fun from then on.
Yeah, it was fun. It was stressful. I was saying some Portuguese swear words, but that's not for you.
Yeah, let's not repeat that in polite company.
Yeah.
Anyway, do you want to move on to telling us about race 2? Because you made such a strong start and quickly got in the lead ahead of Frank Camming. Did you just run out of tyres at the end?
Yeah, it was. Yeah, that's what I mean by learning. I think this was a day to learn as well, because it's my first year here in FS1. It's my first year having to even talk about managing tires. I felt like I managed my tires, but of course I didn't, obviously. Like they were not coping with me. So yeah, I did lose them. I think it was the first sign I got was at like 3 laps to go. I felt the front going, and then it's just a snowball. Yeah, a lot of emotional damage for sure.
Not just physical damage to the tires.
Yeah.
So neither driver nor tires escaped unscathed from that one.
Yeah.
Anyway, but still, P2, your best result of the season so far, and I'm sure the win will eventually come if you keep putting in performances like that. Eoin, any questions for our latest podium finisher in FS1?
I suppose, yeah, the drama of race 1 in particular, to have to fight back. I suppose, did you believe that your setup was capable of making overtakes when I suppose you wanted to qualify well, Junio? Was that your plan B?
Well, when I had that incident, the first thing I came to me was the setup I made for Jeddah had 2 very important things. It was very high wing, but the suspension was made so I could follow people in the straights, and I had the upper hand in the first sector. I could follow people in the first sector. I don't know if you guys saw, but when Omari overtook me for the first time, I was in his gearbox for the whole sector 1. For the whole sector 1. So that was the idea. Even if I get overtaken, I can follow them, and then after following the sector 1, the rest is very easy to keep 3-4 times behind. So I can attack again in the next lap. So in my mind, I knew I could fight. I knew I had more pace than the guys. Of course, the early stop wasn't ideal because. Of course, I was damaging a bit my pace because after they pitted, of course, they have fresher tires than me, and I'm not good at managing tires, so it's a bit of a double effect, But you have to be confident sometimes, Because when Omari overtook me, I was thinking, okay, it's gonna fly, but the setup proved to be worthy of a fight, I think.
Exactly. Well, the driver was certainly worthy as well. And thank you very much for talking to his unit. Well done on the podium, and best of luck for the rest of the season. Let's move on to your teammate, Mr. Yunus Kerala now, who I think definitely qualified in the top 10 and just missed out on the points in race 2. I'm trying to remember what happened in race 1 to Yunus. I think he was in a lot.
Yeah, I spun like turn 2 exit.
That was it. Yes, I remember now. Embarrassing.
It was really bad because it was on the start of the lap, so I had to go full lap without the wing.
Oh.
I still made it to P16 somehow.
So I guess frustrating for you in a sense because just missing out on the points then, but nonetheless, you were really in the thick of the action in the midfield then, and it got quite intense at points, and you definitely held your own against some pretty tough drivers.
It was a lot of fun, like battling people. I think towards the end I was like struggling a lot with hard fires, and I think I went off the track a few times because.
Ooh. Yeah, not many people enjoyed those hards.
I think there's like the curb on like turn 9 exit. I bottomed out on that, then I had to cut the whole section.
Oof.
Because I couldn't make it back on the track.
Well, unfortunately, these things happen sometimes.
Yeah.
Oh, and you got any questions for Yunus before we let him go?
Hi, Yunus. I suppose qualifying, I have to say, really outstanding work from you tonight. Do you have any recollection of how your lap went back in qualifying?
I think I could have done more, but like I think I lost some time in sector 2. Because I don't know, but it was a good lap.
I think that answers your question.
Yeah, I appreciate that.
It was a while ago qualifying, to be fair.
Yeah, it really was. Yeah. Let's get it was a 7/10 off pole, but yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
Pick your time.
With the practice that I had, I think I practiced today on it, and I think it's.
That is very good.
Well, if you are indeed doing Sepang a couple of weeks' time, Yunus, best of luck for that, and we hope to see you in the Camp Clay once again.
Yeah.
All right, well, that confirms it then. Yunus is still doing the rest of the season.
I don't know yet if I will be driving.
Okay.
Okay, sorry. That was a bit disingenuous of me. I'm sorry.
It's okay.
Right, but thank you very much, both of you, for talking to us, and best of luck to Camp Calais for the rest of the season. On a very good night for them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Bye. That's it. All right. Well, with that done, there's only one person left, and it's Mr. Alex Laho. So let's very quickly hear his thoughts. Alex Laho joins us now. Alex, you got time for a quick word?
Bonjour. Yeah, sure.
Sorry to keep you waiting. So, a really dominant performance in race 1. You just took off and we didn't see a whole lot of you. And then race 2, you decided to go for the hards and you ended up finishing a P4, taking advantage of a lot of the chaos in front of you and also making a few good moves. You saw that double overtake on both potentias was definitely a highlight of your race.
Yeah, pretty good, huh?
Not bad. Wouldn't have thought you were the one on hards when you going up the inside of two world-class drivers like that.
Yeah, where do I start?
Where do you
Qualifying,
want?
sure, nice lap. Race 1, hello, goodbye. Race 2, yeah, nice server crash. My game crashes, so I decided to restart my PC and boom, Windows update. So what can I do during that? Wait. And I couldn't use this time to figure out which tire to get. And I looked at my tire wear for race 1 on the soft stint. I was like, this tire is never gonna hold on. But I forgot how slow we could drive in race 2 in the train. I didn't take that in account, and that was my mistake. I pretty much lose the podium on this, I think.
Again, there was an incident with Lucas Filin. It looked like you were trying to sort of be careful around the outside and ended up sort of tangling together. What's your thought on it?
Yeah, well, I wasn't expecting, well, I was maybe expecting the RS games, you know, maybe him slowing a bit. So I'm like, taking more caution than usual. But I try to make sure that I'm staying on the outside line. And the steering input at the end, like just at the end, was not enough for him to, for us to get away with it. So I always lock and we are dead. Well, he's dead, not me. Rip. Rest in peace.
Lucky you. Well,
that's
Alex,
unfortunate, that's all I can say.
I guess so. But he still finished P11, got some points. In terms of your championship, next up, Sepang. Excited?
I'm not. I don't even remember when was my last league race in Sepang. Maybe I tried qualifying, but I'm not sure. Academy 2021.
Oh.
Okay, so that was like 5 years ago.
That was way too long ago.
Oh well.
Sure. Hopefully the track is good, I guess.
We'll see, I guess. But anyway, well done on extending your championship lead in the first race. And best of luck for the rest of the season, Alex. Thanks for talking to us.
Yeah, no problem. Well, you're lagging a bit.
I can't help that. I don't know what you want me to do.
Get better internet.
You need a better Windows update, Alex.
Oh, no.
Jesus,
That's
we nearly
harsh.
ended the story.
But fair enough.
Okay,
Windows
right.
update, jump scare, bro.
Can we end the stream now, Alex?
Yeah, go ahead. You guys go ahead. It's fine.
You be quiet or I'll meet you. So then, concludes then the broadcast of F1 Round 4 in 2026 here from Saudi Arabia, Jeddah. Your two winners, of course, Alex Laho, the man we just silenced, and Frank Hamming, who of course, brilliantly overtook Lopez at the end. So my thanks to Eoin for joining me. My thanks to Fabian Jungbluth for joining, doing the broadcast direction, and my thanks, of course, to all of you at home, every GPV running event, and all our audience watching. So we'll be back for Sepang in 2 weeks' time. But next week, of course, you've got Super Lights and Super League at Jeddah to look forward to. So we hope you enjoy that. That's all from me. Good night.
Good night.
That's all for me too.
Thank you.